Live from the Findlay Toyota studio, you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas.
Cofield and Company live on this Monday. Jonathan Von Tobel filling in for Steve Cofield, a special edition of Von Tobel y Los Vatos. Got 3 hours on tap. A very fun 3 hours. Not to steal Steve's bit, but it is June 22nd. Willie Ramirez is alongside as well. And today, to give people behind the scenes a look of like, hey, how does this thing all work, right? Steve usually puts the rundown together. He's in control of everything. He'll tell us the order and the flow of which we speak about things. And usually, Willie, you're like, okay, man, I had a show earlier today. I was by myself too. Stormy was out, so I had to put a rundown together for my show. I had to put together a rundown for this show. And I'm like, man, what am I going to do? There is so much going on.
I would have helped.
You're saying I didn't need the help. This thing came together so quick. There was so much going on today. Yeah. And in the dog days of summer, I continue to be amazed about leaving stuff on the cutting room floor that I wanted to hit on. It's incredible.
And here it was. I thought you were going to say the preparation that you do, Willie, early in the day, the way you send over the topics, it made it so much easier. I figured that's what you were doing, but
that's part of it.
Oh, good.
I mean, you found a bunch of stuff. I found a bunch of stuff.
There is a ton of news. And it's wild because, as you said, it's June 22nd. And who'd have thunk it that June in Las Vegas, and we've done this, I don't know, for 3 years straight now. We've continued to say the same thing, but it's just nonstop sports news. We literally, there used to be a time, and you know this from back when you first started in this industry as on the boards, there was a time where we were looking for stuff to talk about. And now, cutting room floor.
So how are you feeling? You ready for 3 hours? Have you eaten? Did you go get some onion rings before the show started?
No, but it could happen on the way home.
So today is National Onion Ring Day.
It is.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I feel like we make these things up.
Someone does. I don't know who does, but it is National Onion Ring Day. And there was only... Now, are you an onion ring guy, or like if you see it, or if you drive through a drive-through and you say, hey, I'm going to get onion rings, or... I'm the type of guy where it has to be a specific one. Like, there's only specific onion rings I'm getting.
Like, specific is in the place that makes them? They have to be from there? Okay.
Specific. Off the top of my head, I would say yes to the places, but that doesn't exclude other places, because if I see the way that they do them, because there are different ways that they're done.
Okay.
Like, for instance, when you take – now, I learned how to make onion rings when I was 15, living in Minnesota at a restaurant that I lived in, or that I worked at when I lived in Minnesota.
I didn't know there's going to be a whole lore behind this. Okay, I'm ready.
You dredge you first you dip them, you dredge them, and then you dip them again. But the key is the buttermilk, because then it kind of – the flour hangs. It kind of dangles off the onion. Instead of just a smooth coating, it hangs off the – right? So when you fry it, there's those little crisps that hang off it, and then it's nice and crunchy. If you don't have big, thick, fat, crunchy onion rings, I don't want those perfectly little round ones that are smooth and there's no rough edges and clean. No, I want the big, fat, rough, crispy onion rings.
I think I will actively order onion rings like maybe twice a year. It's not that I dislike them; they just never really appeal to me. I have to be in a mood for it. We don't name names, but does the onion article of food that represents a flour served at a certain steak joint count as onion rings? I mean, they're just onions in batter that are fried. They're just not ring shaped.
That kind of bloom.
Yeah.
They're not a ring.
Okay, so they don't count.
Ring. You know who has great rings, and we will mention the place, is our locale for Friday, is T.I. Incredible wings at that sportsbook.
Really?
They got great onion rings.
Okay.
Now, have you you travel? You've been around with the family. You've been in Jersey.
I used to do a show in Atlantic City every week for full football season a few years ago. Yeah.
You ever go to Holstein's with the last show of The Sopranos, where
No.
very last went there? During the Sopranos bus tour, sat in the booth, and when you take the tour, they end up at the exact same time at the Holstein, so they have them ready. When you walk in and you're doing the tour of the final scene of Sopranos, They have onion rings waiting for you.
Ask me how many episodes of The Sopranos I've ever seen.
Let me close my eyes, and how many do I see? 0.
And we're talking onion rings? Yep, that's perfect. Yeah, 0.
Really?
Okay.
Just not
A
interested.
little bit before my time, and then I can't. I don't have time.
Yeah,
I was out the other
I get
day.
it, I get it.
Somebody asked me, like,
I get it.
what do you watch? And I was like, well, I don't know. And then it took me like,
Sports.
yeah, it took me like an hour to realize, like, I mean, not that much. I like to go out. I like to go to events.
It's a good circle back in a segue back to how busy we are. I was getting show recommendations. I was making a list in my phone. I haven't been able to start a new show. There's one show, Landman so I was supposed to start that. I just don't have time.
Mm-hmm. It's very busy.
Very
going
busy.
out to events.
Yes.
I mean,
Damn it, Golden Knights.
I find times to go to sporting events as a fan, so that's fun. I like to check out suites. You know, T-Mobile's got some really nice suites. I hear they serve onion rings.
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
Speaking of
suites.
Speaking of T-Mobile, you know that place could use, I think, a few more events.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 41. Yeah, 41 coming up in the next couple of years.
I swear, I wish that number that you would have said was. I wish we could have landed that simultaneous number on 67, so I could have went 6-7.
There you go. So with the news today, to the point of it always being busy, and I had a full segment planned out, and it didn't matter because Bill Foley decided to make some news today.
Let's go.
That's right. Bill Foley, for those who are just driving around and not really seeing the news, announced about 2 hours ago he has thrown his hat in the ring, and he would like to be the owner of an NBA franchise. Press release earlier today, Mr. Foley intends to build the potential Vegas franchise on a foundation already in place in Las Vegas, majority ownership, control the Vegas Golden Knights, the 2023 Stanley Cup champions, venue rights at T-Mobile Arena, and an organization that has operated a major professional sports franchise in the market since 2017. Quote, Las Vegas has earned its place among the great sports cities in America, and an NBA team belongs here. We built the Golden Knights into a championship organization from the ground up, and we are prepared to do it again with the same standard, the same commitment to this community, and the same insistence on winning. We have our market, a proven world-class arena, and a best-in-class organization in place. Our intention is to be ready the day the NBA is ready. Let's go, baby! James, Friday, I don't know if you remember this, or was it Thursday, the last day I was in? Steve asked the question, who would you rather have as your owner? Mark Davis or Bill Foley of an NBA franchise? And immediately my answer, Bill Foley. Let's do this thing. We're in. What do you think? You seem fired up.
Bill Foley would be my answer.
Why?
I just like Bill Foley's. I don't have. I know Mark Davis. We cross paths. He knows me by name. We talk all the time. You know, not all the time. We talk when I see him at Aces games. I just like the way that Bill Foley. I don't know if it's that Army mindset that I don't know how to verbalize it properly.
For our radio audience, Willie's saluting very strongly.
Yes, yeah. I am saluting. I can't say, well, Mark Davis has his hands full with the Raiders and the Aces, because that'd be unfair to do to him when Bill Foley owns a couple of teams, right? He owns Bournemouth in the English Premier League, and he owns the Golden Knights, so that's not the case. But as far as passion is concerned, you are talking about a signature franchise in the NFL. I mean, a standard from way back in the day that he's got his hands full. You create an entire organization from the president down, and they run things. But his biggest passion, I remember him telling me when we were in the COVID days, that he loves women's basketball, that it was his number one passion. The day he showed up for the Pac-12 tournament, and it was right after he bought the Aces from MGM, and he goes, and I was joking with him, oh, man, you're going to see some great action. You here for which game you here? He goes, here for some. He goes, here, well, I'm not here for any. I'm here to scout for the draft. Like, he was excited. The passion is there. I don't know if he has that same passion for the NBA. And I just think that, like I said, Bill Foley's mindset with the rights to T-Mobile, that facility, when you walk around, by the way, outside of the Golden Knights logo in front of their locker room, you'll see, since day one, there are signs that say NBA visiting locker room. NBA. Like, it was built with the mindset for the NBA.
That's why the NBA Cup comes out here.
I think that Bill Foley would do an outstanding. I'm not saying Mark Davis wouldn't. I just think Bill Foley would hit it out of the park. The way that he approached the Golden Knights and came out swinging. And by the way, since he's bought Bournemouth, they've climbed up away out of relegation into, and they were mid-tier in the EPL this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like the way Bill Foley runs his operation.
I would agree. And, it does harken back a little bit to one of the things that bothered me during the Knights Stanley Cup run was hearing from these whiny Canadians about Mitch Marner. And one of the things that they kept talking about was, well, the pressure, there's no pressure. And Stormy Monotoni, my co-host over on VSiN, actually mentioned that one time. And I looked at her, I go, there's a ton of pressure. You know where it comes from? Up top.
Yeah.
It comes from Bill Foley and this organization that has certain demands of its players and of its organization, everybody, all the way down, that has thus bred a winning culture for the Vegas Golden Knights to make it to 3 Stanley Cups in, was it now 9 years or whatever it is right now at this point, right? Why they're constantly winning, why they're constantly building. I agree with all of your points, and we have many points of data to prove that Bill Foley, with whatever he's doing in ownership, and we have so many examples in sports of a strong owner leading to a strong franchise. But we also have this unique dynamic, which I'm very curious about. Does good ownership translate from sport to sport? You're talking about Mark Davis. I think that's a really interesting parallel. Mark Davis, I think you could argue, his tenure as full owner of the Raiders has been rocky, I think, putting it kindly. There hasn't been a ton of winning. There hasn't been Super Bowl appearances, all of that sort of stuff. And yet he has done an amazing job with the Las Vegas Aces.
I'm going to interject for you, if you want, when you want.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you why I feel that he, air quotes, has done a remarkable job with the Aces since he bought it?
Well, let me just finish the point, which is
okay, go ahead.
Which is just overall, and Davis is not the only one, but we have these examples of these owners that you could point to a franchise under their ownership that has done such a tremendous job in building it up, and others under their ownership that have not. And I do wonder if ownership and your mentality translates from franchise to franchise to sport, and that if Foley's, whatever he's doing in hockey is working, 100%. But I'd be very curious to see how it works building up an NBA team, and if that translates, because we have a lot of examples of owners who have done very well with their teams, but others that they have owned, they have not found that success for whatever reason.
I think it all depends on who you're hiring to run the front office. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. When Mark Davis bought that team, and the writing was on the wall after the Aces were eliminated by the Phoenix Mercury, and the question was posed to Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and it might have been Kelsey Plum at the postgame presser of the elimination, and they repeated what Bill Lambier said, and you could see the look on their faces like, what? Like they were – it was at that point I knew Lambier's out. Okay, they bring in Becky Hammond. But you know what else that Mark Davis did? And if you go walk through that facility, you know what there's not a lot of in there? Men. From the top down, cleaned house. Eventually wiped it clean, and it's majority women run that organization. It's the WNBA. It makes perfect sense. You know what we've seen since then, league-wide? We're seeing a lot of men pushed out from the PR offices to there are only certain GMs that are men. I mean, it's an all-women, realistically, all the power people in there. You walk around during the day or during the games. They do a fantastic job. All the women in place in there from the game ops to the PR department to Nikki Fargas, Becky Hammond, all the way down. Bill Foley's done the same thing. Everyone knocks Kelly McCrimmon, but he said it last week in the press conference. Why do people hate Las Vegas? Because they're jealous of us, because of how we do things. You succeed and everyone's jealous of you. They hate you. But he's done a fantastic job. He's not afraid to cut ties, not afraid to shake hands and say, hey, he's got to go. Cut ties with Bruce Cassidy, 8 games left in the season, brings in Tortorella, did his job. Then guess what? Hey, you did your job. We did what you needed. Okay, see you. So I think it has to do with knowing the right people, the right personnel. But I still think that Bill Foley would be more effective in this situation.
I would agree. I'm just curious to see how it translates. And I think one of the big things about the Raiders, as we have known and talked about a lot, is it has seemed at times like the Raiders have too many cooks in the kitchen. But it also seems that they have maybe turned a corner with that, and that they're actually allowing guys and gals to do their jobs the proper way and maybe being a little bit more hands-off. But it's hard not to be excited about this news, considering what Bill Foley has done with the Vegas Golden Knights and with this community in turn. So if you're just joining us here, news of the day, Bill Foley has thrown his hat in the ring to potentially be the owner of the new NBA franchise, if he's awarded. It's just throwing his hat in the ring. They're going to go
dope.
through the process. We're going to see everything happens. It opens a giant swath of questions. I mean, practice facility, what that's going to be with Bill Foley in command now. What does that mean for the team name? Because we know his influences and what he likes. So what is that going to look like in terms of that, the market, everything? It's going to be absolutely fantastic. But NBA is center stage. Future is bright. The NBA draft is tomorrow. I, for one, am very excited for what this NBA draft is going to be. On the way back, let's talk about what we're looking at the top. It's starting to shift a little bit more. We're starting to get some clarity here. And all of you out there, you better be excited because you were all complaining about something, and now we finally have what we need, and none of you care. What's the problem?
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Steve Cofield out. I have no idea where he is. Jonathan Von Tobel filling in. Willie Ramirez here. Von Tobel y los Vatos on this Monday. What's that? Nothing. Okay. All right. France and Iraq going at it in the FIFA World Cup. It is a 1-0 lead for the French. Oh yeah, I go full lexicon when it comes to soccer. Sorry, football. Kylian Mbappe with the lone goal so far for Les Bleus.
You know that I have a complete, as Steve likes to call it, I have a complete other life, a complete other audience on TikTok and the UK.
I have to get to the bottom of this. I've heard about this. I have no idea the details behind this.
They get very upset when I use the word soccer.
Tell them to suck it.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
I do. I was on. I was.
They're streaming in American. You're going to use American terminology.
No, they're streaming from the UK.
No, but you're live, correct? And they are watching you.
Well, sort of.
Okay,
sort of. But when you go into these co-hosting battles, or you go into co-hosting, and so they're on their live. So they're talking. So to them, we're talking about. Even though the world, I have said, hey, World Cup's over here. We're calling it soccer.
Yeah.
But I was on WhatsApp with one of the kids earlier, mid-20s, and I was like, hey man, I need some deets in case I go on the radio here. Why this? Why that? Give me some intel on what you're thinking. So
anything good?
We'll get into it later.
Okay, all right.
I can't tell you that the Sharps have been on fire.
Okay.
I've been getting some text messages from some friends of ours. Just for some insight, it was like, hey, they're moving on this, they're moving that. They really were killing the total the first week.
I feel like the anger that those Brits feel toward you when you use the term soccer is the same anger that I'm starting to feel about a couple of things when it comes to the association. First of which, we'll have more on this a little bit later. I'm going to read this really quickly, though.
Okay.
From an hour ago, report. There's a very good chance that Giannis Antetokounmpo gets traded today, and the Bucks front office will hold a major meeting to make a decision, per Jake Fisher. No bleep. A front office is going to meet before they trade a franchise player. What a report. And it's just that's been the whole thing. I can't get into details or else I'm going to get very angry. But this has been the entirety of the past 48 hours with the Giannis Antetokounmpo thing.
It reminds me of somebody. It reminds me of somebody that right before, let's say 48 hours before signing day, the tweet would read, I'm hearing some things I can't really say, but my sources tell me UNLV is going to make a major splash. This person knew absolutely nothing. But then the second that something happened, transfer in, a portal that, this, that, the other, quote tweet, their own tweet and put, this is what I was talking about. Cofield and I used to just die of laughter over it.
Drives me nuts. We'll have more on Giannis. Hopefully, I'm going to kick it down the road just because I'm hoping it gets traded by the time the show ends. But who knows what's going to happen by tomorrow. Because tomorrow is a big day. It is the NBA draft. And I'm excited. I am kind of a draft nerd. I enjoy these sort of things. The NBA draft is fun. I like basketball, so I like talking about where these guys are going to fit. There's an excitement personally for me as a Clippers fan because for the first time in forever, the basketball gods took a break from just dumping all over the Los Angeles Clippers to give them a top 5 pick in this draft lottery. So there's a chance the Clippers could have a blue-chip prospect and something worth getting excited about. We had it in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but, of course, we know the history there. So it sounds like maybe Keaton Wagler is going to be the pick for them, guard out of Illinois. We don't need to focus on Wagler. What I wanted to focus on is the top of this draft is really, really freaking good.
Yeah.
You have a lot of really good prospects at the top of this draft. No particular order. Darren Peterson coming out of Kansas, A.J. DeBonsa coming out of BYU, Cam Boozer from Duke, Caleb Wilson from North Carolina. What's the commonality between those four things that I just listed, those four guys?
One and done.
That could be, yes. Or they all played at an American college.
No foreigners.
Yeah, well, don't put it like that. That sounds.
Well,
you're talking to some foreigners right now, so don't put it like that.
Yeah.
But to your point, though, going down that road, you heard so much in years past about. I can't get into this. Like what the NBA's got a problem. It's all these Euros coming over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never watched these guys before. Okay, here you go. The top 10 potential players coming off the board, or 9 of the top 10 tomorrow, are all going to be kids that played at colleges and here in America. All one and dones. Most of them played in March Madness in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
They should be familiar names to you. You should be excited. You should be ready to go with this thing.
100%.
And yet, I feel because I'm very close to the Sun. It's my Twitter feed. It's everything I follow. So I see all of it. But I also feel like maybe I'm missing the mark in terms of how excited we should be about something like this. And you have a true debate as to who the best player is at the top of this draft. This should be one of the more exciting NBA drafts that we've seen in a very long time.
In a very long time, because in recent years it's been the top draft pick. Well, that's all I really know, and that's fine if you don't know X amount. But the fact of the matter is, these are all names that could have an impact within, if not immediately, within the next few years, and become. This realistically is the future right here. This could be an era right here being ushered in as we see it.
Absolutely. This could be on par with some of the best draft classes we've ever seen. If you're looking at talent-wise and the depth of what it is, Carlos Boozer's son, Cam Boozer, by the way, Carlos Boozer, for those who don't know, in the Jazz front office, who are picking number 2, so just an interesting wrinkle there.
Ooh.
But that is widely considered to be by some the best prospect, and he might go third. There's so many guys and gals in these scouting departments that really like Boozer and what he brings to the table. It is incredible to see the depth of what this is. And then you've got a little bit further down. I will invoke 1 Euro really quickly. I'm a big Ade Mara guy. But where did he play? He played at Michigan. So you have this guy who's 7'2", who could be really good. Like, there is so much depth here, and there should be this desire for a lot of people. I keep bringing this kid up, and he just keeps taking strays just because he's a name. There is no Noah Essingay here. Anybody know who Noah Essingay is? He was a lottery pick from the Bulls. Nobody really knows who he is, didn't really play. You might know him from when he played in the Summer League and he got dunked on. He had that ridiculous picture. But there is none of that.
Yeah.
And so this should be a really good time. And I am so stubbornly in on Darren Peterson being the best prospect in this draft. I think it's a mistake if the Wizards go with A.J. DeBonsa, who, by the way, now is up to a -$600 to go first overall.
And I get it, because we tend to lean on the favorites that we become enamored with while we're watching their college careers. But I do have to ask you for selfish reasons, because I met this kid, because he spent last summer, a good portion of last summer, in Las Vegas. I met him at some and saw him and talked to him at some Aces games, DeBonsa. And I covered him in when they played here opening weekend, I think it was, at T-Mobile. Whether he goes 1, whether he goes 2, whether he goes 3, wherever he goes, I think he's a top 3 pick.
Yeah.
Is he an instant impact wherever he goes? Does he fit in your opinion? What do you like? What do you dislike? Or it's hard to dislike something about this kid, because I just think he's very well spoken. I think that he brings out that bold brashness that the NBA sort of requires for you to be successful, but I think he also knows where to put the humble hat on, and that's where he comes in very, I think, pro-ready.
Oh, he's 100% pro-ready. I think he's got the highest. No, but I just mean I think he's got the highest floor.
Yeah.
He'll plug and play, and I don't think he'll fall past a certain point in terms of his production. He's great. You can post him up wherever, if it's like low post, mid post, high post. He can find his shot. He works really well from the mid-range. He's a freak in transition. He's obviously a pretty decent rebounder. I think the thing you worry about, and again, you're splitting hairs here, he was a 33% shooter in college, shot 77% from the free throw line, so he's probably not going to translate to like a knockdown three-point shooter. So spacing-wise, whatever. But if you got enough shooting, he's going to be awesome enough.
He can bring back the mid-range jumper.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be fine. And like I said, you're nitpicking, but No, I think he is going to be absolutely fantastic. My love for Darren Peterson is not anti-A.J. Debonsa. It's pro-Darren Peterson. Peterson, I think, should be very, very good. And part of my stubbornness with him, too, is this weird belief from social media that he's a pansy and a quitter because he had some cramping issues and some problems health-wise in college. And a lot of people thought that he was just, of course, quitting, didn't love the game. And all these NBA teams have looked at him and gone, yeah, no, like we see what's going on. He's fine.
Here's my next question to you from a sports betting standpoint, and take this question just at face value when I ask you this, and I'm not asking you because I think that this team would win it, but which of the lottery teams grabs one of these that you would say, this kid will get this team. This kid could make this big of a difference where this team would get into the playoff. Which team is perfectly positioned that could get into the playoffs that might catch you a big price to win the title?
I already bet the Utah Jazz at 150-1 to win the Western Conference.
Okay.
They're going to be freaking awesome.
Because the reason I ask that is because you get a team right now before the draft starts at a huge price. And you got them. Now you're holding on. You put $100 on 150, right?
Whoa, it's a lot.
It's not a lot. To win $15,000, not bad. All you need is the Jazz to get into the postseason. Now you just start hedging. Get your $100 back. Then you make some profit. Now you're sitting on that $15,000 ticket. So you got to figure out which team would be the best. You got about 24 hours to do it.
It's a great class. There might not be an A'ja Wilson in this class, though. The greatest player potentially of all time. Let's talk about the Aces when we come back because they are on a very good run. And my goal today when it comes to the W is to get Willie pissed off.
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
8 wins in 9 games for the Vegas Aces, 92-73 last night over the Golden State Valkyries. I don't like that by the way.
What, the Valkyries?
It should be Valkyrie. I always thought that Valkyrie was one of those terms that was a plural and a singular. Valkyries does not sound right to me.
Yeah, I get it.
It just should be the Golden State Valkyrie, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
We're past that point. So
I.E. should be plural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie Young, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. She goes 9-12 from the floor, 3-6 from three-point range. It's her second straight 20-plus point game. She's 16-27 from the floor over that stretch. A'ja Wilson, a ho-hum, 19-9 with 3 assists. Down game for her. Not focused.
Yeah,
I think we should probably start questioning whether or not she's actually in right now.
She might not be the best. You know what? As of right now, she might be in the MVP conversation, but she wouldn't get my number one vote. You'd probably be shocked as to who I would be voting number one right now.
I feel like I want to guess, but I don't want to derail this.
Guess it.
Olivia Miles.
100%.
Okay, save that. I want to talk about Olivia later. My new favorite player.
Dude, listen.
I think it should be everybody's favorite player.
When they come back, you just said one thing I'm enjoying is going to the game, going to the live games, but as a fan, not using a credential. If the links come back, you have to watch this person in person. The TV does her no justice.
You will enjoy this because I am trying to take up more responsibility here at the wonderful Lotus Broadcasting, ESPN Las Vegas, and the LV Sports Network. I have been credentialed and will be there Thursday.
Oh, good.
For the Wings game. So
I'll be there.
I'll be helping out a little bit more with coverage. I'm excited to be around the team a little bit more.
Wonderful.
So I've been watching a lot more, trying to be educated on the topic.
We'll hook up in the back tunnel, and I will.
Whoa, phrasing.
I said we will hook up back in the. I didn't say anyway. I'll introduce you to Pam, Dallas's PR person.
Could be dope.
Because you do want to be – she's one of the best in the business. Actually, you know what's great? When you have a homestand and you're dealing with fantastic visiting PR reps, because there are some in the WNBA that are 100% crapola. But Golden State's PR, New York's PR, Dallas's PR, fantastic.
Okay.
Fan-bloody-tastic.
Okay. Are you starting to? I can't say I'm going to open a can of worms here.
Open the can. Pop it open.
No, we got to
like
talk about
a canister of tennis balls.
All right, let me ask you this because Steve Kim's going to join us in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
They've won 8 out of the last 9. Over the last 9, 4th best net rating in the league, 3rd best offensive rating. Defense, 7th best. Defense has not been great for the Aces over this stretch. What have we seen here over this run for the Aces?
they're allowing teams to get in transition, and they're just not defending on the perimeter. And you know what else I've noticed, especially from the Minnesota game, they allow their point guard or the opposing team that first step, and I can't put my finger on it.
Olivia Miles had such a sick scoop layup over Asia Wilson in that game. I was like, man.
Well, here's what's crazy. In the pregame, Becky Hammond, I asked her about Olivia Miles. She said, well, the thing about her is she does a phenomenal job of drawing your big out to and if they challenge her and they give her spacing to try to get back into the paint, she'll take off on you. I watched it all night. I'm looking at the people sitting next to me, pressure. I was like, how much are they going to let her do this? But the fact of the matter is, it's one of those things where it's like we can play keep up or catch up with our sharp shooters. And if their offense is off, then it's not working. And I don't know what she needs to do. People are saying, well, once they get healthy, and Dana Evans, who had a great conversation with yesterday, by the way, Kennedy Carter, this person's injured, this one's hobbling this. You better straighten up and start playing defense because they're just not getting it done. And I think it starts on the perimeter, to be quite honest with you, because they're leaving too much on Asia Wilson's shoulders, and it's affecting the entire team when you look at what they're doing. And there's a team I was studying today for Ball is Life, for an article I was writing, and you know what? It's kind of scary to think if this team follows the pattern of last year's Aces, where they went 14-14 with one of the worst defenses in the league, and then takes off on a 16-game win streak and, boom, wins the title. Because if this team catches hot, the league is in a lot of trouble.
Okay. That was a very, very intense tease.
A tease, very tease, big tease.
When are we going to pay that off?
Well, we got my guy Geoff.
Okay, all right.
Magliocchetti.
Okay.
Coming on in the 4 o'clock hour from Ball is Life. My new colleague, as I've signed a 1-year contract with Ball is Life, by the way. Yes, we've left some stuff. We've left some future Olivia Miles chatter.
Correct.
We've left this tease as to which team I'm sort of thinking, wow, are they going down the same pattern as the Aces? We've left that out there.
In the second hour, we'll have a little bit more about the stars in the WNBA because I think the worm has turned when it comes to a dynamic between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And I think that we are down the path now of Angel Reese actually being the one with the better career path now as we move forward.
And a better attitude?
Than Caitlin Clark. It might be. But when we come back, I think, are they Caitlin Clark fans? Are they Angel Reese fans? I don't know. Steve Kim's going to join us 3 Knockdown Rule podcast.
Now back to Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Company takeover here on Cofield and Company. Steve is out. JVT, Willie Ramirez are in. A Von Tobel y Los Vatos edition of Cofield and Company. Still the same, though, at this time here on a Monday. Steve Kim, 3 Knockdown Rule podcast at Steve Kim 323 up on X. Steve, we appreciate a couple of minutes. I wanted to start with where we left off. We were discussing a little bit about the WNBA. Willie specializes in the league, and I just watched over the weekend a couple of games in which the Atlanta Dream just crushed Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. Have we entered the universe in which Angel Reese is on the better career trajectory than Caitlin Clark?
Well, she's on a better team. I don't, I think that's the same thing that happened at LSU. I mean, Angel Reese is very effective at what she does. But, when you define better, I don't know how many GMs would actually take Angel Reese over Caitlin Clark. I also, from a box office standpoint, I still think Caitlin Clark's probably vastly more popular. But that's like saying, was AC Green, was he better than Charles Barkley in his day, or was one guy on the Lakers and the other guy on the 76ers?
I was with you for those comparisons up until you went AC versus Barkley, because I feel as if in that analogy, Angel Reese is much better than the person AC Green would be in that comparison than what we're talking about here. But definitely,
really?
Yes,
no
definitely.
Way.
Stop, Steve.
AC Green could actually face up from about 15 feet.
Steve, I understand. Listen, I understand. I understand how much you love Caitlin. Listen, I understand how much you and Jason love Caitlin Clark, but listen, Angel Reese has worked on her game. She's worked on her game. She's not overall better, but you know what? The trajectory right now, Angel Reese has done a much better job to improve her game than Caitlin Clark. Because until I see Caitlin Clark play defense with any sort of integrity, she's awful at the defensive end. Not like getting by. She's awful.
I just don't got an AC Green thing. AC Green was a damn good NBA player.
Angel Reese is a damn good WNBA player.
Okay, that they're not the same thing, Willie. Okay. They are not the same because that little W in the middle changes everything. But AC Green could actually face up from about 15 feet in the middle of his career and actually hit some perimeter shots.
In the middle of his career?
Hold on, Willie. Let him answer.
I'm going to apologize to AC Green. That was a good man. That was a good, chaste man. Apologize right now to AC Green.
To serve as moderator, what do you make of Willie's remark, though, is when you watch Caitlin Clark, and I watched a little bit of Whitlock's video on this, she was terrible on defense over the weekend and generally has been.
She is. Look, but it's bad team defense, and she's not a great team defender. I've said this for 2 years. And by the way, I am not a Caitlin Clark fan. I'm dragged into this. I am just an employee. If it was up to me, I'd be talking about who's going to be my right tackle at the University of Miami this year in place of Francis Mawanoa. Let's be honest about it. But here's the thing. In all seriousness, Caitlin Clark, I've compared her to Allen Iverson with the Sixers. If you go back to early in her career, she was not a compatible fit with the players around her that were more talented than the guys that were actually on the 2001 team, namely Jerry Stackhouse. It was just not a good fit. They both needed the ball. But when Allen Iverson finally bought in at the urging of Pat Croce with Larry Brown, and then you had role players that understood the sacrifice that was needed to play effectively with them, namely Aaron Key, Eric Snow, Matt Geiger, all those guys, then it worked. But right now, to me, that Indiana thing, I think needs to be blown up.
Are you a fan of Olivia Miles?
No, I'm not a WNBA fan at all, really. I care a little bit about Clark because I think it's fascinating, but I do think that she needs to toughen up. And I've said this for 2 years. When Whitlock was actually saying that she's like the Jordan or as important as Jordan, I said, you're out of your mind. Jordan was tough. I don't think she's very tough. I think she bends a lot. And I think, what's worse than being not tough? Petulant. She gets petulant too much. But at the same time, she might hate her work environment to a point where I kind of get it. It reminded me of my last 4 or 5 months at ESPN. It was dreadful.
I will tell you this. We were just talking about this off the air. Everybody is so up in arms about the facial expressions, the interaction with Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark. You see these little 3-second clips and go, look at Stephanie White's discuss how she doesn't like Caitlin Clark. You know what? Let's not forget that Stephanie White's first year with Indiana was last season. So her rookie season, she was coached by Christy Sides. Stephanie White comes over. Well, she got to see Caitlin Clark for 14 games? So she didn't really get to see the full spectrum. That look on her face sometimes is, what am I dealing with? Like, I think that there's bafflement on the defensive side of things, or there are times where the system that's in place, if you can't be a team player, this is not Caitlin Clark's system. The thing that you nailed the one thing, she's a box office person. I think those looks on her face sometimes are like, whoa, she needs to be coached up. She was never coached up at Iowa. She just went and shot from a logo and made everybody drool. She did nothing else on that team. So I think it's more like, I got a lot of work to do, and that's why Bree January, her assistant, tried to talk to her, and then Caitlin Clark's yelling at her. People don't understand. This is this coaching staff's first season of getting to see what they're dealing with.
Right, and I think I would call this in the court of law or family court is irreconcilable differences. I get the sense they need to just blow this whole thing up, in the words of Brian Billick.
Steve Kim with us again, 3 Knockdown Rule podcast. Steve Kim 323. Is it irreconcilable differences? I'm doing that on purpose. Between Fury and Joshua, is this close to being announced? I was reading an ESPN article that maybe we're around the corner. What's the holdup here? Is this actually going to happen?
No, I think it's going to happen. The question is, guys, will it happen in the UK/Britain where it belongs, or are they going to shoehorn this in America for some reason? I mean, guys, you know this. come Labor Day weekend, we are now in football season. Everything gets overshadowed by football, the American passion. Maybe not pastime, but passion. And I feel bad for the British fans. They're the most loyal fans in the world. They support everything. And you're going to rip away the biggest fight they've ever had to put it in America, where we really don't care nearly as much about this fight?
So obviously I know the background of these two fighters, but Steve, I am ignorant when it comes to the fan bases of boxing in general. Would you classify like English boxing fandom as stronger than American boxing fandom, or is that just because of these two fighters' origins?
Both.
Okay.
An average fight, I've seen a lot of fights over there in Britain, which are decent guys, right? And they're drawing like over 8 to 10 to 12 to 15,000. In America, it'd be in a small ballroom or inside someone's garage with 20 people. There's a fervor there, because if you look at the English or the UK sports scene, it's soccer, snooker, and darts, but there's no NFL, there's no NBA, college sports is not a factor the way it is out here. There's a lot less options. And so when you look at an average, let's say, championship level fight, it's not a super fight, but it's a championship fight in England, they generally have a bigger crowd.
All right, so this weekend, I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to get into boxing. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch this Floyd Mayweather exhibition this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it.
Do you think it's going to happen? I heard there's some issues because of the injunction of CSI Sports, who believe that they were breached in their agreement by Mr. Mayweather. And my buddy Dan Raphael reported accurately, by the way, The Zone, which was going to show this on pay-per-view, because we were all looking to give our money for this, right? Yep. They've actually ripped it away from their schedule. It's scrubbed clean. It's not there anymore.
Ah, come on. No, I was being facetious. I think I also read that it has kind of been postponed until Wednesday tentatively until they figure this out. So maybe this is going to happen in the next couple of days. But, I mean, how do you get this close to something happening? And granted, I don't know how big this is going to be, and have it struck down like this? Like, shouldn't this have been taken care of a while ago?
I guess, but at the same time, maybe Floyd shouldn't be running some sort of Ponzi scheme in his own career. And by the way, there's boxing on Saturday worth watching. A very good fight for the unified junior middleweight title between Xander Zayas and Boots Ennis. If there's anything to talk about boxing, it's that particular fight that takes place at the Barclays Center. 3
Knockdown Rule podcast. You also have a Substack. I was on that, reading a couple of things, and read your article here about De La Hoya and his interview with Chris Mannix. So what was so important about that interview with Mannix?
Well, he basically said if Ryan Garcia thinks he's just going to fight on any network, it has to be the Zone. Bottom line, we have a deal. Golden Boy is in a partnership with the Zone. They both put money into that contract or that career for the last 7-8 years. And he's made it clear, we have an obligation to the Zone. So all this talk of Ryan Garcia fighting Conor Benn on Netflix, not so fast, my friend. And the other thing is he said Virgil Ortiz, who they are kind of battling with, he's been sidelined. I believe a resolution will be found where they're going to have a reconciliation of convenience. They still don't love each other, but they need to make money. And just for you, since you read my Substack, I will be doing a frame-by-frame breakdown of Caitlin Clark defensive switches next week. I promise.
Yep. I think she's a poor screen defender, but that's just me. Steve, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great week.
Yep. Again, the Substack, check it out. And, of course, the podcast, 3 Knockdown Rule Pod at Steve Kim 323.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Second hour, welcome into our friends out in Reno. Jonathan Von Tobel, Willie Ramirez. We're filling in for Steve today. Von Tobel y Los Vatos edition of Cofield and Company. We're still waiting. We still have a weather delay out in Philly for this France-Iraq
By the way,
contest.
Did you see that? I can't remember. I sent it over. I don't know if we threw it in the grab bag, but did you see? I just want to.
I didn't. I don't know what it is.
You know what I was going to say?
No, what is it?
Let me find it. The Brazilian soccer fans at the World Cup heed the warning not to dress the Rocky statue in team gear. You know how they'll go and they'll throw stuff over statues and wherever?
I did not know there was a thing for Brazilians, but okay.
I didn't know, and I don't mean Brazil. I mean just in general sports fans.
Yeah.
They'll throw their gear on statue or whatever. I guess there was a very big warning not to mess with Rocky Balboa.
It's a good thing that We don't simulcast in Philly. I have strong thoughts about Rocky Balboa. Mostly negative.
Don't get me started on Rocky.
Positive or negative?
Negative.
Oh, yeah, movie sucked.
It was not. First of all, it wasn't a sports movie. What do you think it was?
I think it was a movie about him harassing Adrian into a relationship.
It was a love story.
No, it was terrible.
Well, they fell in love. So
no, she didn't. She's a victim of Stockholm Syndrome.
Do you think?
For those who know what Stockholm Syndrome is, it's eventually you're captive, but for so long that you actually fall in love with your captor.
Yeah, captor. Yeah. Yeah, no.
He harassed her every day at the pet shop until she gave in.
Yeah.
Hey, Adrian, I need iguana food or whatever he said.
Tell you a joke.
It's terrible.
He'll walk you home.
The movie was so boring. And then he calls that little girl. Like I can't. Big four.
Yeah.
Battleborn Injury Lawyers presents The Big 4 at 4. Number 4.
All right, you kind of got fired up. I thought you were going to go the other way on this. But for our Reno audience to bring you in, my goal was to get Willie mad about the WNBA. I wanted some hot topics I was going to fire in, but it seems like we're locking step potentially on this one. Angel Reese, the fastest player in WNBA history to get to 1,000 rebounds over the weekend. She's part of a dream team that crushed the Fever in a home-and-home the last 2 games. I watched a lot of those 2 games. Reese looks pretty comfortable in that system. She's fantastic. I was telling James, that drop step is lethal. She's great when she's working down low. She's awesome on the glass. They seem to be using her a little bit differently than Chicago was using her, and it seems to be really good. And then I watch Caitlin Clark on defense, and I watch her making her faces, and she's getting crushed every single which way. They're going after her. If you watch, you said you can't really analyze film. You do. I would think you do a pretty good job because you watch enough WNBA. Almost every action with Caitlin Clark's on the floor, she's involved. Let's go. Let's go. Defend this screen. Get over it. Get under it. What are you doing? And she was getting destroyed in those 2 games. I got to say, I think this worm has turned, to use that phrase again. We're going down the path where Reese is going to have the better career than Caitlin Clark. And yes, we had somebody tweet me. Shockingly enough, they have a Caitlin Clark avatar as their profile picture. I'm sorry, but I think we actually might be heading down that path. Yes.
And here, I'm going to tell you why this is working for Angel Reese. First of all, she played for Tyler Marsh, who in his first season, which was rough, okay, and he comes from a system of discipline under Becky Hammon, and he has somewhat of an NBA, WNBA background, right, of assistant. Angel Reese goes from that to play for Carl Smesko, who was a very good player-friendly coach at Florida Gulf Coast and was beloved by his players. So being able to sort of I don't want to call it a player-run system, but understanding your players a little bit more than demanding from them, I feel is that's why Natalie Nakasi is doing well at Golden State. Now, she's a disciplinarian, but she's starting fresh just like the other players from jump with the expansion, where Chicago, that's a different animal, right? So Nakasi listens to her players. She has team. I don't know what's going on in Chicago, and I'm friends with Tyler. But what I think is that Angel has gone down there, and Carl's like, here's what we're doing. Here's where we want to utilize what you do, Angel, rather than putting demands and saying, here's what we need for you to do. Here's what we want you to do. And I think there's less demand. It's allowing her to be what she does. Why? Because you have someone like Alicia Gray. You have someone like Ryan Howard. You have a defensive guard like Jordan Canada, one of the best defensive and underrated guards in the WNBA, who has a championship to her credit. So she has a lot of mentors there. Whereas in Indiana, Caitlin Clark, everyone's come under this spell, if you will, of where this is her team and everything's got to be around her. We got to protect her. Sophie Cunningham's got to be the enforcer, which is, I think, is just a horrible word to use for Sophie Cunningham. You know, Sophie Cunningham is, I think, percentage-wise, their best three-point shooter. It's either her or Kelsey Mitchell. Clark ranks 5th. Now, granted, one of them, I think I just looked at this. One of them hasn't played the threshold of games that would match for that criteria. But Kelsey Mitchell is the overall best player on that team. Aaliyah Boston you could make an argument with what she's able to do in the paint. Sophie Cunningham, what she's able to do as a well-rounded physical player. Then you can factor in Caitlin Clark. But it's just a cluster because of what Stephanie White has been thrown into. This is, again, I'll repeat it as I did when we were talking to Steve Kim. This is Stephanie White's first look at the entire roster. She only had Caitlin Clark for 14 games. And I think she's kind of getting an idea of what Christy Sides was dealing with in Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Whereas Carl Smesko is a player-friendly coach who molded young minds. Again, I repeat, was beloved at Florida Gulf Coast, did a fantastic job. I've heard nothing but good things about him from different players, including Kirsten Bell, who plays for the Aces. She started at Florida Gulf Coast. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that Angel is in a great spot.
Number 3.
How much are we freaking out about the Lynx? Mystics, 12-0 run. They beat them 84-79. My favorite player. Nobody else knew about her. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 9 of 18, Olivia Miles. The rec specs are so cool, dude. They're so cool.
I will say I'm a little surprised that they.
Can I just say very quick? I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
You cannot be a bad player and rock rec specs. If you're going to, you have to be maybe an all-time great. Olivia Miles might just be that, but you cannot. That is such, as the kids would say, it cuts into your aura so much that you have to have such overwhelming aura to balance it out. Olivia Miles has it.
I have been given an assignment for Ball is Life that I'll be working on.
Rex Bexa history?
No,
that would be a good piece.
That's a great list piece. Like list
the history of the Rex Beck.
Yeah.
The greatest players of all time.
This is actually the top 5 rookie seasons, and it's not doesn't have to be stat wise, but like who's produced what to have an impact in the W. Olivia Miles is in the conversation of being on that list. We're talking because this is the 30th anniversary of the WNBA. Is she putting together a top 5 rookie season? She's fantastic. Now, I will say this. I'm not shocked at the competitiveness that Washington brought into the Twin Cities. I'm shocked that they won outright because it was in Minnesota, and it was at the end of a 4-game road trip that went from New York to Connecticut, back to New York, and to Minnesota. But guess what? The Mystics are on a 3-game win streak. I'm not shocked at the competitiveness because they started the season winning 2 of 3, and the 2 wins were on the road. The loss was an overtime loss to the Liberty in D.C. This is a competitive team. And, by the way, if this one player starts firing and gets hot from the outside, you know who might end up being just a better overall player this season than Caitlin Clark? Sonia Citron.
Wow. Always goes back to Caitlin.
It does. Sorry.
Number 2.
All right, I'm not going to lie. I'm watching more hockey. I'm enjoying the sport.
Okay. For the fights?
No. Actually, I think the fights, do I even risk this?
You love the fights.
I think the fights are stupid. Somebody out there in hockey world goes, huh? I think the fights are stupid. But that's just me. I just don't understand it. It takes away from the game. It makes the game go longer. Like, let's just play the game. Can we please? Anyway. Brady Tkachuk is traded to Florida to join Matthew. I'm gonna use a social media thing here. Put this in NBA terms for me. Is this Markieff Morris joining his twin? Is this the Morai twins being united?
I wish that we could play.
I feel like the Tkachuks are better than the Morai twins.
I hate the fact that we can't have drop-ins. Is that what they're called?
Drops?
Drops. Yeah. Because I would totally point to James at this point and have the Bad Boys theme coming in. The Pistons. They're really toughening up.
Okay.
You got them with Brad Marchand now. I mean,
it was a hefty haul. Number 9 pick in this year's draft.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay's first-round pick this year. And then the second-round pick in 2027. And their top 10 protected first-round pick in 2029.
Florida's not playing around. This is a huge pickup, right? Obviously, the brothers from the USA team. But, again, you're grabbing somebody that's effective offensively, but also is a physical guy. And they're bringing in, this is a nice piece to add. This was impressive when I saw this yesterday, or when I heard it. We were at the Aces game, and my guy dawned on me and goes, Willie, did you see what just happened? I was like, what are you talking about? And he says, the Panthers just got Brady Tkachuk. And I was like, wait, what? And for whatever reason, my first initial thought was Carolina because I heard Panthers, so you think Carolina Panthers. So I was like, they just won the Stanley Cup, and then that dawned on me. I had to think within that matter of 3 seconds. The Florida Panthers just picked up Brady Tkachuk. They're going for their third title in 4 years. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking this is a piece to the puzzle to get back to the playoffs. They missed the playoffs.
I'm not looking. I'm trying to find this on social media. Are the NHL fans going to get mad now? This is what you got mad at about Las Vegas, right?
Yes.
Right?
100%.
You're just trading picks and getting good players. That's not fair. Where is it?
No.
Are we going to whine about this? Are we going to complain about this? Where's the hockey fans?
They're not jealous. They're just jealous of Vegas.
People got mad at McCrimmon for saying that he was right.
Yes. 100%.
He was absolutely right. And then you have a move like this, and it's just, crickets, that's fine. That's just hockey.
You know what we need to do?
Get out of here.
We need to find NHL fans in the markets of the division rivals of the Panthers because they're the ones that are going to be teed off, especially Carolina.
Number one.
Number one.
Did I lose track? I didn't think so. All right. We have a new coach. Dallas Mavericks have filled their vacancy.
You like this move?
Dusty May, come on down. Can I say really quickly before we get to do I like this hire? I'm always amazed these college basketball writers are like, he's leaving the college? That's the best job in college. It's the NBA. It's the highest level of basketball.
Right.
These men have egos and want to achieve great things. Yes, he's challenging himself as a coach. So Dusty May leaves. He's going to become the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Michigan's going to hire within. You're going to bring an assistant off the bench to become the head coach. You're going to try to retain some of these kids. Remember, 5 days, 15-day portal window. So we'll see who they lose. They got a big 5-star kid coming in, too, as well. I would assume that they hope that they're going to retain him. But I think it's a good move for the Mavericks. I think Dusty May's a pretty damn good coach. And you get to pair him with Cooper Flagg and whatever your 9th overall pick is going to be. Maybe he's going to grab one of his Michigan boys there tomorrow. I love it. Do you know the last NBA coach or the college coach to make the jump to the NBA? It was in relatively recent history.
I don't.
John Beilein.
Oh.
It did not go well, but John was old.
That was also Michigan.
Yes, it was.
Do you know my opinion, the worst college to NBA jump?
No.
Count it down so we could just go right off. 5, 4, 3. Jerry Tarkanian, Spurs, 20 games, gone.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Jonathan Von Tobel and Willie Ramirez filling in for Steve today here on Cofield and Company, LVSportsNetwork.com. You want to check in on any of the episodes that you missed? ESPN Las Vegas up on X. James, can I give away tickets now? Right before I give it? All right, cool. Caller number 702-364-1100 for those of you here in Las Vegas. Jerry Seinfeld is going to be here. We get a pair of tickets to see Jerry at the Coliseum, Caesars Palace, June 26th. Caller number 702-364-1100 tickets from Ticketmaster. But before we get to that, let's welcome in our next guest. I know we're excited about this. Talked a lot of W so far today. Geoff Magliocchetti is with us. Ball is life, Knicks X Factor as well. Geoff, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Let's start with this. I have been a big Olivia Miles fan for 2 weeks now. Is this the best team in the WNBA when they are healthy?
Well, Willie, JDT, thank you for having me on. I sure hope I'm calling number 7. That sounds like a great prize. But I think that what Miles has accomplished so far, it is not only Rookie of the Year material, it is probably MVP material in the sense that she is perfectly defining the V in MVP. When Minnesota went into the season, they lost a few players in the front court, players like Alana Smith, players like Nafisa Collier to injury, and it looked like a tough break for them. It looked like this was finally going to be the end of whatever window, at least temporarily, that Minnesota had at this point. But she has slid in perfectly, and it is truly amazing to see what she has done. Minnesota right now it's hard to deny with the sense of resilience that they've had so far that this is the best team in the W right now. All respect to what Vegas has accomplished. They have not lost a step. And it's pretty incredible considering, you talk about how important depth is here in this league. I mean, look at what New York has accomplished with its own second unit. You talk about the importance of depth in this league. Vegas has played but 10 players, and they're still rolling like this. Whether that translates to yet another MVP for Asia Wilson at this point, that remains to be seen. But if Minnesota is playing like this without their franchise face and fee, who knows what they're going to look like when she comes back. So to answer the question, for the time being, I probably would give the top spot to the Lynx at this point, but the margin for error is very, very small at this point.
It is, and I'll tell you what, Geoff, when that draft was made, draft was complete, and I saw where Olivia Miles went, I said to myself, this is going to be incredible for a few reasons. First of all, you put her in a backcourt, not on the court, but in the locker room with Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride, a pair of players who have been through so much off the court. You think about what Courtney Williams has admitted to learning with an incident in Atlanta and how she's grown from Chicago to Connecticut to now Minnesota. You think about Kayla McBride and her essay that she wrote for the Players Tribune and her mental health and what she's overcome and what she's learned overseas to help Olivia Miles in the locker room and grow. And then you bring a player like Natasha Howard in, what she's doing for this team in Fee's absence. It's no wonder that Olivia Miles is thriving. It really is an incredible feat for this team. So I agree with you 100%. I actually can't wait to write what the project that I've been given for Ball is Life in the top 5 all-time rookie seasons, and that's not basically based on stats, but the impact they have, because Olivia is writing the book in terms of being a top 5 rookie campaign in this 30th anniversary.
I will never forget prior to the draft, most of the prospects attending the draft, they spoke a couple days beforehand, and Olivia made her case to be the number 1 pick. And when I posted that on X, a lot of people were really surprised that she would, make a case for herself as number 1. But I think nobody's laughing now at this point. And that is all due respect to AZ Fudd, who is slowly starting to find her way, starting to find her professional footing out in Dallas, currently ranked 2nd in rookie net rating at this point. So I think that's with a minimum of 15 minutes played. So I think she is starting to find her step in the right direction. But that put the chip on the shoulder of a player who already had multiple chips on each shoulder. She transferred out of Notre Dame to go to TCU. She stayed for an extra season when many advised her that it would have been better to leave into the draft immediately. So instead, her faith is getting rewarded and then some. She lands into a perfect situation where there was a need for her immediately. There are, like you said, perfect mentors in Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride. There are other players who really wanted something to prove. Natasha Howard, her contributions got perhaps a little buried in Indiana last season. When Caitlin Clark, when Sophie Cunningham go down, she was one of the players that really stepped up, particularly on the defensive side. But most of the attention went to, say, Kelsey Mitchell out there. Most of the attention went to Aaliyah Boston out there. So she was willing to prove that not only did she still have the makings, could she still work with, be a difference maker in the WNBA with a championship program. She was really, again, trying to put the V in MVP at this point. But this is so perfect for Miles at this point, is that she hasn't lost a step in the way this offense flows to her. She's looking great out there, making a difference on both sides of the ball. And again, you never want to jump too big into hyperbole. You don't want to go into recency bias or anything. But this is not only a Rookie of the Year type season, but it's an MVP season in general, just for the way she is perfectly defining that middle initial.
Nneka Ogwumike takes down the New York Liberty last night with an incredible shot. Liberty have now lost 2 straight and had to come back and really hold on against the Chicago Sky a few days ago as well. I know health has been a part of this, but what does a fully formed Liberty team look like, as the Aces will face them in the Commissioner's Cup, of course, at the end of the month? They do get a regular season matchup coming up soon.
Yeah, what an incredible game last night. You could not – if you sent a script where the de facto co-author of the new CBA in WNBA Players Association, Nneka Ogwumike, scores the game-winning three to give L.A. revenge for 97, the studios would reject it for a lack of subtlety out there. So that was an incredible game last night. But with New York right now, I don't think this is any time to panic for the Liberty. This is a group where, again, I know that the Chicago game got a little dicey. These losses to Washington and L.A. don't look good on paper, but they're at a point where Benaijah Hamilton is working her way back. Sabrina Ionescu probably still finding her healthy footing again, and still the Liberty remaining games to the very end. There's a lot to be excited about this Liberty group. Through the first quarter of the season, I think it's impossible to deny what Pauline Astier has done for this group. She's part of what I like to call basically a group of rhinos, rookies in name only, where, you know, she has extensive international experience and she's introducing herself to an American audience with a bang out there. She is shooting 57% from the field, which is leading all rookies beyond the injured Emma Chikova. Again, she is third in rookie net rating among women with a minimum of 15 minutes per game, behind, again, only Miles and Fudd. And she really impressed last night in a second unit role, scoring 17 points in that game last night, finding Breanna Stewart for some solid assists out there. So this is not – so if you're looking for someone who's putting the V and MVP in New York at this point, hard to argue against Astier or Benaijah Hamilton in that second unit. New York is 10-1 when she takes the floor this year. But this is going to be a very telling stretch for New York. Their next 8 games are the following. They have a 3-game road trip that, like you said, heads to Sin City tomorrow, as a matter of fact. That's going to be a good one tomorrow, which, of course, will serve as a preview of the Commissioner's Cup final a week later. They also go to Seattle and Golden State on this road trip. They previously lost to Golden State at home earlier this year. They go back to the Bay Area on Sunday night, and then they host Minnesota and Dallas before the next 2 after that are back-to-back up north against Minnesota and Toronto. So we're going to learn a lot about this New York group. It's not really a time to panic because New York has, for all the worrying about the Liberty this year, they've accomplished some solid things. They became the first team in WNBA history to score at least 100 points in their first 4 games, doing so under a new head coach, no less, in Chris DeMarco. And this is a team that, let's not forget, just out-rebounded the Atlanta Dream, beat them at their own game by out-rebounding them by 16. So this is going to be – so while this is no time to panic for New York, there is a ton of potential here still, and this is when they're not even in their final form just yet. Turnovers aren't an issue, but the Liberty has proven at times that, you know, talent can outrun the turnovers at this point. They shouldn't come to rely on that strategy, but this is no time to panic for this group. Having said that, we're going to learn a lot about this team over the next 8 games, including the Commissioner's Cup final next week.
Geoff Magliocchetti with us, Ball is Life. All right, we got about 60 seconds left. How screwed are the Tempo with the Sykes injury?
That's a tough one because it's not only Sykes who's gone down, but it's also Kiki Rice, who was also revealed to be out for an extended period. Toronto has found some solid footing in veteran talents in both head coach Sandy Brondello and Marina Mabry, who, of course, had that 37-point performance the other night, tying the WNBA record with 9 threes. I think Toronto, they're overachieving at this point. They are sticking around in the playoff picture, which is a solid goal for them. It wouldn't surprise me to see either Toronto or Portland represent the expansion teams on the bracket. So if Mabry is able to keep this up, no guarantee, but the way she can go up on any single night is so dangerous. So while it looks scary on paper, not as bad. The Tempo can recover from this, and I think they can keep track on the lower half of the playoff bracket.
Geoff, fantastic couple of minutes. Thank you very much, sir. That was great.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Appreciate your time and insight. Thank you.
See, you know he's nice because he says keep up the good work. He has no idea the quality of work that I do. This is the first time I've ever spoken to him. I could be terrible at my job.
You are.
I think some would argue that.
Stormy would argue for you. That's your girl.
I don't know about that. We are sharing some text messages right now because we're buddies, but I don't know if she would say that. I think she's...
you got your bad mouth with me.
Yeah, she's not that big of a fan of mine. You think the Tempo are done? Pack it up?
I think the only thing they have on their side, there's 2 things they have on their side. Sandy Brondello and Marina Mabry.
Okay.
I think Brundello is still one of the best coaches in the league. The problem is the depth.
I have a lot of problems. One of them is it is 4:31, and we have yet to find out if Giannis Antetokounmpo has been traded. What is going on?
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Some breaking news in the association. How about this? It's not about Giannis Antetokounmpo. But we do have news from Shams Charania involving the number 1 overall pick. According to Shams, the Wizards are heavily considering, looking at, drafting AJ DeBonsa with the first overall pick. Now, before we get excited, I'm going to read you a tweet from the year 2023. You might wonder what the connection is here, and you will make that connection quickly. This is from Shams Charania in 2023. Sources. Scoot Henderson is gaining serious momentum at number 2 with the Charlotte Hornets in tonight's NBA draft. Hornets have been torn over the last week between Henderson and Brandon Miller. Team has a final meeting today to settle on the decision. Brandon Miller was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets that year. So he's not always right, but according to Shams, it is going to be AJ DeBonsa with the first overall pick. No update on Giannis Antetokounmpo. If I hear one more time that we're close, I mean, what are we doing? This isn't, I mean, I was going to make a joke about intimacy, but
Foreplay?
just like, I'm right there, you know? We're so close.
I'm close.
Like, come on, dude. What are we doing? Is this reporting now? Or just, it's right around the corner. It's going to happen. It's going to happen in the next 24 hours. It's going to happen. These stupid NBA media members over the weekend, did everybody get the same text?
Are we allowed to make innuendo and metaphors?
Yeah, we're allowed to make innuendo.
They're flicking the bean.
Okay, I think you might have to dump that one. Yeah, that one's a dump. That's a little too aggressive. That was not an innuendo. That was like just straight up. That was just straight up terminology, dude.
Yeah. It was a great metaphor.
Like, I thought we were going to be subtle. Anyway.
I think you're going to have to dump that one.
Yeah, he did. Giannis has not been traded yet. It's the Celtics or it's the Heat. And I wanted to, because we got the Bill Foley news, and I try, because I think Steve is pretty good at this, where you take a topic and you kind of spin it off into a bigger, like another topic and make these connections. And, you know, I wanted to make this, I felt like there was this very fragile connection with the news that Bill Foley had thrown his hat into the ring as an NBA owner. Because the Miami Heat are in the mix for Giannis Antetokounmpo. But they want Giannis, but they don't want to give away all their assets. And it's just this arrogance that comes out of Miami all the time in these off seasons now. Of course these stars want to play for us, and of course we'll trade you this bag of basketballs and these Cool Ranch Doritos, and you'll want everything we give you, and we'll take your best player. And every year it fails, and every year the Heat come away with nothing. But it's this arrogance from a franchise that has had a ton of success. And Riley has done a really good job as an executive. And that's why I wanted to tie in Foley is, you know, so far, the success has not turned Foley and the Knights into arrogance.
No. And they're willing to give away assets.
Right. But the Heat have been. And that's the thing that has always kind of irritated me over the last few years. Ever since this post-LeBron, and look, they've made some runs. Jimmy Butler got them to the bubble finals, and they've made a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're a successful franchise. But there is an arrogance that emanates from South Beach every offseason. And it rubs me the wrong way. And then juxtaposing it with a successful franchise here, that is it's actually Heat-esque in the way that it is, no, this is our culture, this is our way, you're going to come in, we're going to do it like this. But the Heat drive me crazy every offseason with this nonsense, and I hope and pray they don't get Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I don't want him down there.
Seems like
is there a place you do want him?
The Clippers, come on. And we'll keep the 5th overall pick.
Is there a reality place that you want?
Trade him, re-sign John Collins, who's an unrestricted free agent. Just trade him for Giannis. We'll take it.
I like John Collins. He's a nice guy.
I'm sure he is. He's not getting you Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No.
Although I think people are surprised by the price. And then there's these conflicting reports. One report says the Celtics are not moving Jaylen Brown unless it's for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Brian Windhorst reports a couple of hours ago the Celtics might still move Jaylen Brown. It's like, okay, what are we doing? We got to get this going, man. Speaking of getting it going.
You know when it's going to happen? 6:01.
Hopefully not. Jesse Merrick's going to join us coming up next. Raiders had a fancy lunch today.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
We are still waiting for the start or resumption of play. Is that a word? Of France and Iraq. That is going to get started here in about 6 minutes. It's been rained out there in Philly, but they're going to get it back going. And then coming up in 15 minutes, Norway, Senegal. That should be a good one. Really looking forward to it. Erling Haaland. I have him at 12-1 to win the Golden Boot. But Lionel Messi putting a little dent in my plans with 5 goals so far through 2 matches. So.
Is USA going to get a wake-up call in the knockout round?
I don't remember exactly off the top of my head how it's going to go in terms of who they're going to get right out the gate, but I have talked to folks who think they can make it to the round of 16, so that's a win, at least one knockout round. So
for some reason, why do I think that England's like right in their path?
England is in the path of Mexico, I believe.
Oh, okay.
If Mexico wins their first, then it would be England, but who knows? Maybe England would face the Americans first off. I mean, look.
Tough chore against Jordan Pickford.
Much like.
Great goaltender.
You know what happened the 2 other times that England came around?
No.
Revolutionary War and the War of 1812, brother. Send them packing. 4th of July. USA. USA. Coming up this weekend. How about that? History buff. All up here. You know, a franchise that is big on its history, because there's not really many good years in recent years, the Raiders. Let's check in. Jesse Merrick's here with us. Jesse, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. There's a lot of questions I want to ask, including about the nice little lunch the Raiders had today, but I couldn't help but notice as I was watching some footage from Raiders.com, by the end of training camp, if you hear the term snaps under center, are you just going to be triggered to the point where you want to jump out of a window because this is all we're talking about with Fernando Mendoza?
Yeah, that it's so true. Like, that's been a wild narrative, which, like, look, yes, it's an adjustment, but it's an adjustment for every quarterback coming out of college. So, like, the reason that people are just deciding to, like, hammer it home, particularly with Fernando, is pretty wild to me. But, yeah, I'm hoping that goes away. I mean, we've seen so many snaps under center already in the offseason through rookie minicamp, OTAs, and minicamp and all that stuff. The kid can do it, so hopefully that moves on. But I guarantee you, if and when he actually gets out on the field during the season, like, there's going to be mention of it from somebody out there and be like, oh, or if he like struggles at all with like one snap, that's going to be some sort of talking point. But yeah, I'm ready to be done with that one, just like you guys are, I'm sure.
I mean, I would assume it's kind of a sign of actually a good thing because there's not that much to talk about from a negative standpoint. So let's just hyper focus on a small aspect of the first overall picks game.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. When it's like a one quarterback draft, you always got to kind of find a way to like poke holes into it because there's really nobody you can compare him to. I know there was the whole thing with Dan Orlovsky and trying to say the stuff that he said about Ty Simpson and all that. But it's like when you don't have anybody else going in the top 5, top 10, like it is kind of lacking in intrigue. So like let's really poke holes in it all. I would imagine that's the case. And like and to be fair, like the last minicamp practice that we saw, he did struggle a little bit with some of the drops under center, but I think it was just an overall thing when the defense sped him up as a whole. So, like, the footwork was faster and the uncomfortability was kind of there. But, again, like, for a kid that's adjusting to that part of the game, like, you expect that right now. You want to see that right now so that he has things to work on and continue to build on come training camp time. So, yeah, it's an easy narrative to throw out there, and again, trying to find holes in any of it. The other one out there is the RPO deal as well. But when you really dig into the numbers, it's not like some egregious number of RPOs that he ran. It was an RPO-heavy offense, but not some insane number where you're like, all they ran were RPOs. So, again, you try and find those negatives where you can because that's how people are. They want to poke holes in everything. So I get it.
So we did get news of the dates for training camp. Fill people in on when that's going to happen, and we do have a joint practice scheduled for the Raiders that, to the point of Fernando Mendoza and kind of jumping into the deep end, it's a pretty good defensive opponent to face in training camp to get ready for the regular season.
Yeah, those joint practices are huge because you get such a read on your team and the rookies and all that stuff. And, like, to your point, for Fernando to get work against that Houston Texans team is going to be really big. You know, the guys always talk about how that, like, those practices are way more valuable than the preseason games. So, like, if it's close between him and Kirk Cousins, which I do believe that Kirk is going to end up being the starter, but if it's close between them and he comes out there and, like, is just letting it rip against this defense for the Texans, all of a sudden the narrative could change a bit and it can be like, uh-oh, like, this kid's got a real shot to beat Kirk out, you know, if he comes out and lights it up there. Like, not to be hyperbolic about one practice, but I could see that happening. I believe that one is the 18th of August, if I remember off the top of my head. But rookies will be reporting on July 23rd, and the vets report to training camp on July 28th. So we'll very likely be out there at Raiders HQ for our first practice to be able to watch this team. July 29th would be my guess on the actual date there.
So this is obviously Clint Kubiak's first time around leading this team and as a head coach, and he's gotten his first instance of running it, right? We had the mandatory minicamp. Anything that you can glean from his first go-round of an organized team activity like this?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that really stood out, and Kirk Cousins even mentioned it, he said it's not a picnic, you know? I mean, it's a very vast difference. You can tell just in the approach from, like, Pete Carroll to now Kubiak leading the charge. Because when Pete Carroll was there, like, you guys all know his personality, the way he runs these practices is very light. You know, he's very much a player's coach. And not to say that Kubiak is like some jerk or anything like that, but it's very serious. I mean, there's even like as little as like no music out there, you know, while we're out there really, like during practice and stuff. That's something that's been a staple over the years. And it took us a while to like be like, wait a second, it's a lot quieter than normal. Oh, because there's not any music going on. So you can hear the team and the guys a bit more, which is interesting. And you can also hear the coaching a bit more, which is cool too. But like, it's one of those deals where he is just very serious. And I expected him to be serious, but I didn't expect him to be this serious. And so that's something that really stood out to me. But again, you can just tell, like, and it's not, again, not in a jerk way. It's just like this guy's all about ball. And I think that's what this team needs. I've said it a ton. Like, go back and look at the last handful of coaches for this team. Again, Pete Carroll, throw in Josh McDaniels, Antonio Pierce, John Gruden. All those guys have, like, big personalities or some form of, like, off-the-field baggage that you've seen in recent years. And Kubiak comes in, and it's just like, yeah, he's just a football guy. There's not really baggage, you know. And you look back at his lineage and the Kubiaks in general, and there's not some, like, you know, big like personalities or off the field spats or wild things like that you're like, man, watch out for this. So like it's kind of all ball all the time. And I think that's kind of what this team needs.
Jesse, so to that point though, in terms of the seriousness and sort of that different vibe, at the same token, you've been here long enough through several regimes where it's also a much better culture. From my understanding, I haven't been out there yet, and obviously I'll be out there as it gets, you know, as we get into training camp and then get into the preseason. But the culture is different, the vibe is different. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll preface it all by saying this: I have sat here through many regimes and said it feels different this time. It's kind of like a rite of passage in the off season, the way this team cycled through coaches. Having said that, this one does feel different purely because, like, it feels like they actually have a plan and that everybody is on the same page. GM and head coach, all the players, all that stuff. Like, there's just a very clear vision for them, and that they want to build this up the right way. Like, there's no this, well, we're going to build and win in the future and have a plan and all these things. Like, they're very much just concentrated on, like, building a foundation right now. John Spytek even came out and said it, and I think Kubiak did as well, that, like, they're not coming out, you know, expecting to win 10 games, you know, and although they think that would be great, like, that's not their aim. Their aim right now is to build a foundation for the future and do it the right way. And I think all their moves have kind of backed that up. So that, to me, is why the vibe does feel different, because you can feel it from the players. You can see it from the outside looking in. A lot of different times it was just a lot of different talk, and you were like, okay, there's still these, like, for lack of a better word, like Raiders, quote-unquote, type moves where you're like, that just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And a lot of the stuff that they did in the offseason just made sense, which was a big step forward for this team, you know. And so pair that with a coach that is all ball and that very clearly has a plan, and a GM now that seems like he is on the same page with his coach. And he picked this coach as well. So, like, there's just synergy all throughout the building, it seems. You know, so, you know, who knows what that'll translate to this year, next year, the year following. But I think this is the first time in a while that it's felt like there's real synergy around this team, and I think that's huge for them.
You know, I was thinking, how could this team improve? What else could they do at this point right now? Jesse and Jesse Merrick's with us here on Cofield and Company, Silver and Black Sports Network. I think they need a veteran wide receiver.
Are you trying to trigger me?
I may have read the article that you can find up on your website.
Yeah. If you guys want to find my long-winded thoughts on this one, go to silverblacksportsnetwork.com. But yeah, so ESPN came out with an article recently saying that they need Stephon Diggs, and they said it was a no-brainer. And to me, I was screaming at my phone as I was reading it, because again, this team is not trying to win right now, and they're trying to build a foundation for the future. And what do they have in their receiver room? A bunch of unproven guys. And they also go and sign a Jalen Naylor to come and join this team, and he's a dude that everyone's saying is primed for more opportunities and all that. So what are you going to do? Sign a vet to come in and take snaps away from him, who you just gave, I believe, $35 million to? It's just kind of wild to me. And then also trying to figure out what you actually do have in a second-round pick from a season ago in Jack Besh. And then Dante Thornton Jr., too. What do you have in him? And then also, too, factor in just this offense as a whole and what Clint Kubiak likes to do. Brock Bowers is going to be the funnel that JSN was. I'm not saying they're going to have the same role, but in terms of funneling the amount of targets to them, okay? Jackson Smith and Jigba had more than 160 targets last year in Seattle. Brock Bowers, if he's healthy, is going to eclipse 150-plus targets this year. Mark my words on that. Then after that, the next two leading receivers on the team up in Seattle last year were Cooper Kupp and A.J. Barner. Cooper Kupp had 70 targets. A.J. Barner had 68 targets. That's still not even factoring in Ashton Jeanty, who Clint Kubiak has talked about essentially kind of having a Christian McCaffrey type of role and workload. Well, Christian McCaffrey also routinely gets 100-plus receiving targets when he's healthy. So, when you try and do the math, it just doesn't add up to also then add a veteran receiver into the mix when you're trying to figure out what you have in those guys around Brock Bowers to figure out who can be here for the future, of this team in terms of receiver and everything. The staff also really likes Trey Tucker. So to me, it's Brock Bowers, Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker, and then whatever role, a Jack Besh or a Dante Thornton can carve out. We can't forget that they drafted Malik Benson as well. Michael Mayer, the number 2 tight end. There's already a lot of mouths to feed. And while I know a lot of people will look at it on paper and be like, this group sucks in terms of receivers purely, yes, it may not look like the most talented group in football, but also if your funnel is going to be your tight end, lean into that. And I think next year is the time to bring in a receiver, not a guy that will be 33 in November, and then next year when you're very likely ready to kind of try to make a playoff run, the dude's going on 34. That to me just doesn't really make sense.
Jesse, we got about 90 seconds. You've covered all the different teams in Las Vegas. So here's my question now that Bill Foley's throwing his hat in the ring.
Yeah.
Who do you want as your NBA owner more, Mark Davis or Bill Foley?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Okay, Bill Foley obviously has shown he is giving all the resources in the world to a team, and he's actually fielded a winner. Mark Davis, too, to be fair, look, he has tried to hire the coach and get out of the way on the Raiders side. It hasn't worked out. He did it with the Aces, and it totally worked out. So that's an interesting one to do it. I don't know. I think if Mark were to get in on it, that almost becomes like a sports monopoly. So I would say let's lean towards Bill Foley, and the only caveat that I have in there is that let's not throw Knights in the name. It can't be the Bronze Knights or anything like that. Get out of here with that. Come up with an original name that is totally different than the rest of the folks within that family of ownership there.
That is why you're very good at what you do, because that was one of the first questions I asked. Is I hope it's not something boring, because we know what Bill Foley likes, and he's fielded a great team. Yeah. But it better not be something like that. Jesse, we appreciate it. silverandblacksportsnetwork.com. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, it's got to be something good.
I've already said what the name should be.
I mean, I think it's going to be something generic like the Vipers.
I think it's going to be the Sharks.
It's not going to be the Sharks.
It's got to be the Sharks.
It's got to be is a difference than it will be.
It's got to be.
And it won't be. All right, coming back, fifth hour. Caleb Aaron's going to join us in 30 minutes, get our taste of UNLV football, and we'll hit more on Foley throwing his hat in the ring in the NBA.
Live from the Findlay Toyota studio, you're listening to ESPN Las Vegas.
One hour left. Von Tobel y Los Vatos edition of Cofield and Company. JVT, Jonathan Von Tobel, filling in for Steve Cofield. Willie Ramirez alongside as well. I've been told I have a voice for radio. I feel like I want to train my voice to be deeper.
Definitely have a face for it.
Yeah. Hey, man, you're just mad.
I am. Jealous.
You're mad because Cofield's AI image. Do you see? Okay, so I was given a compliment by Caleb Herring, who's going to join us in 30 minutes.
You see the other
on the AI image. It was like, hey, man, yeah, it looked great.
Did you see the comment from Casablanca Rick?
I will get to that in a moment.
Okay.
Because what I was setting up was, I don't care about how I look physically in that picture. What I like the most about the AI-generated image that Steve Cofield has made of me, along with Willie Ramirez, my hair looks great.
It does.
I mean, I don't have, like, terrible hair in general. Like, I've got decent hair, but wow. Looks fantastic.
Yeah, he purposely made me look fat. He did that on purpose.
I think the AI did that.
No, I think because you can do.
I don't think he said make Willie fat.
Yeah, he said keep him husky. Make JV. Well, we're gonna get into the. I do like Casablanca Rick's comment.
Which was?
That image looks like a movie you might order in a hotel room. They came to Vegas for a good time. Then their casino host was murdered. These OG players are in for a wild ride.
Oh, yeah. What were we going to get into?
What do you mean?
You said, we're going to get into that. And then you just kind of trailed off.
No, you said we're going to get in. I didn't say anything. I said.
Play back the tape, this guy.
I said something. You said.
You're a little distracted today, Will.
I said, I like that. I said, I like Casablanca Rick's. And you said, we're going to get into it. What are you talking about?
Are you still live?
Yeah, but I'm not even paying attention to that.
He's waving the camera the whole day. It's been throwing me off.
Yeah. You got people coming in from all over the place. Right now, we have a couple of people from L.A. We have a world-class lacrosse player watching us, Selena, from L.A.
Not the Selena, unfortunately.
No, not the Selena. Yeah, R.I.P. Selena.
Selena.
Yeah.
We're underway between Norway and Senegal as well, and the rain out has ended. So have you been watching the World Cup or no?
I've been paying attention. I haven't been able to sit down and watch a match, but I've been paying attention to, I'll have it on in the background while I'm in my office. But no, I've been trying to pay attention.
The world's greatest athletes, all in, I was going to say one place, one country now, as they're all out here, playing for title of greatest football team on the planet.
Soccer.
Some would say football. I think Bill Foley would call it football.
He definitely would call it football since he's the owner of AFC Bournemouth.
He is.
Yeah.
And the owner of the Vegas Golden Knights.
He tried to be the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And perhaps.
You know that.
The owner of the yet-to-be-named, yet-to-be-established, yet-to-be-approved,
soon-to-be owner of the NBA.
Las Vegas NBA franchise.
Yes.
You're just getting in your car right now. The news of the day, Bill Foley, also known as William P. Foley II, has thrown his hat into the ring to be considered by the NBA as the majority owner of the, again, yet-to-be-named NBA franchise. It was announced a little bit earlier today from VGK and from Foley himself. Quote from Foley, Las Vegas has earned its place among the great sports cities in America, and an NBA team belongs here. We built the Golden Knights into a championship organization from the ground up, and we are prepared to do it again with the same standard, the same commitment to this community, and the same insistence on winning. We have the market, a proven world-class arena, and a best-in-class organization in place. Our intention is to be ready the day the NBA is ready. We should reiterate that for our audience, the NBA has not outright approved a franchise here.
Mm-hmm.
It has approved the process of looking into a franchise.
The study.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, part of that was getting an owner. And it's funny because I saw a comment on one of our posts. And it was like, I don't think Foley's going to get it. I think he's going to lose out to these other ownership groups. And I was like, was there another one that has submitted anything at this point right now? Because Foley's the only name that we've really heard that has announced that they're in, at least in terms of being considered. So right now he's a leader in the clubhouse. And I got to tell you, I think we're pretty happy as a whole here in Vegas if he's ultimately going to be the one that can land this thing given his history with the Vegas Golden Knights.
And, when you submit your bid and you submit it's like submitting a business plan, right? For a let's just say like an SBA loan. Like you have to, he's figured out how to capture this audience. And I don't think that the NBA franchise that comes here, if it comes here, is going to have a difficult time attracting the audience. But in terms of what works, let's not forget about the in-game entertainment. Let's not forget about what takes place when you go to a Golden Knights game. There's a lot involved as well that's already worked and that set a standard. When Seattle established its franchise in the NHL, the Kraken, you know who they hired away for in-game entertainment? The group that was doing Vegas's. So there's an established success beyond just hoisting the cup. Playoffs in 3, cup in 6. Mm-hmm. They get it in the 6th year. It goes beyond that. It's how they've run the organization, back to front, front to back, inside and out. And I think that's going to go a long way.
I don't think I really don't have any doubt that they're going to be a well-run organization. I think he's proven here that he knows what he's doing in terms of being a hands-off owner for the most part, hiring the people that need to do the job and then letting them do their job, and hiring the right people as part of it. Maybe he misses, maybe he doesn't. We'll find out if and when the hiring happens and if he gets the team. I think there's something pretty interesting in the press release. This is going to sound crazy. T-Mobile's ancient. It's old. It was built in 2016.
Oh, they should implode it.
In all seriousness, will the NBA? It's an arena that was built with the NHL and the NBA in mind. We know that.
Mm-hmm. There's literally placards around the arena for the locker rooms that say NBA guest, NBA home team.
The NBA Cup hosted its events here the last couple of years. There's talk in the NBA that they might expand out, go to different cities, whatever. The NBA is happy with it. I don't think this would be crazy. But I don't think there would be a problem with T-Mobile, would there?
No, I don't think so. And I think that there's enough – we've seen enough teams. There are enough teams. I mean, closest, obviously, the Kings that share crypto with the Lakers, which is –
Talking about the Hockey Kings, by the way, for those who are wondering.
Yeah.
For those who are just like, what do you mean? Yeah.
In terms of how to share an arena at the same time where seasons are one and the same, or, as far as running simultaneously, I don't think there's a problem. I think it's and you know why they built it with what in mind they built it to not just is how miserably how the NBA how the All-Star the Thomas and Mack failed when hosting the NBA All-Star game. It pulled off and they got it done, but there were so many failures to it in the size and how they the back end of so they kept that in mind. So I mean, what's realistically changed in 10 years to where all of a sudden they would need to switch things? We talked about it earlier, food-wise, like the sweets. What were we talking about onion rings or something? Mm-hmm. I think everything's in place. I don't think that there would need to be an upgrade. I think they would just need to figure out.
Not everything's in place. Practice facility.
That has nothing to do with T-Mobile.
I'm just saying with the whole process. I don't doubt they would get it done. I'd be curious to see where it would be. You think about the investment, too, with Foley in this group. I mean, you talk building T-Mobile, what they've done with City National and getting that out there, building that up, and then a practice facility would have to come as well, and whatever comes with that. It's a lot. It's, again, local hero Bill Foley. And if they
needed to, for whatever reason, let's say it couldn't get done with immediacy, I think that they would have time. And I think that the blueprint's in place, but they could use Mendenhall. Mendenhall hosts, obviously, Team USA when it's here. Yeah. But no, they'll get one built. I guess that's one thing that Mark Davis has on. He built the Aces facility.
Sure.
And that set the standard for the rest of the WNBA.
The timeline's really interesting too. The first timeline we heard with this expansion team was the 2028-2029 season.
Yeah. So they'd have
that is right around the corner if you're talking about awarding ownership, getting the process started, expansion draft, building practice facility, getting all of that done. Now, it's a good thing T-Mobile's already in place, so you have the place to play the games. But that is a lot that needs to get done if he is into this.
We need to start figuring out where do we find at the county where he establishes, like if he buys a parcel of land, let's say in Summerlin, and we say, oh, Foley's bought this land. Is that for the practice facility? Mm-hmm. You know how media members will do that. They'll go, oh, this was bought, this was purchased, somebody bought a house, somebody bought a this, somebody bought a that. We need to keep an eye on whether or not Foley's already, because does that mean that he's been given word that he'll be granted that? What's so? Somebody get on that. We need a commercial real estate on board with us to drop the info.
And we have no question Bill Foley will be successful as an NBA owner.
No question. There's no Here's the thing to the question we've been asking all day, which we'll ask Caleb Herring. I don't think that Mark Davis would be a bad NBA owner either. It's a matter
the question
of
was
which
just who
one
would you rather have.
Yeah. So I mean, because he is all about the players and building.
Well,
he built a world class facility for the Raiders, then the Aces. So he would do the exact same thing. It's just a matter of which one you would rather want.
So let me add to that question because I brought up, or our first hour when we had discussed this, I brought up the discrepancy, if you will, in Mark Davis' tenure as owner of the Raiders versus his tenure as owner of the Aces. Yeah. And the immense success he has had since day one with the Aces versus the rocky tenure he's had with the Las Vegas Raiders in terms of success. Yeah. Is it actually better for Davis to be invested in a sport like basketball in the Aces because he does not have the family history tied to the sport itself?
I just swear to God, dude, while you're sitting there saying this, in my head I'm thinking he had to live up to his father's name, and this is a great, because the NBA and the WNBA obviously are married, right? They're that's Big Brother. So it could work in his favor.
He's more willing to acquiesce to folks in terms of their opinion on things.
Yeah.
Letting them do their jobs, not having too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to executive level decisions.
And not having to compare, well, this is what my dad did. Not saying that he does that, but that's always going to stick in your head when you have a storied franchise and one of the names and logos that goes back to the history of this league in terms of comparisons. Because when it's hit rock bottom, when you had the situation with Gruden, when you had a situation like you did with Josh McDaniels, which was a utter failure, you're always going to turn back to saying, what would my father? I'm sure he's had those conversations with himself in his head. What would my father do? So he loves basketball, but he does love women's sports. So all that being said, it is something that he's always had a passion for. Whether or not he has that passion for the NBA, I don't know.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see, too, the other ramifications of this, tying it back to T-Mobile. Mm-hmm. This is from 2025, so not too long ago, but it's TKO Group Holdings Incorporated and T-Mobile Arena today announced the extension of their landmark multi-year partnership through 2030, reinforcing the venue's status as the official home for the UFC and WWE in Las Vegas. Because that's the other part about introducing 41 new events to T-Mobile. The UFC and WWE have events there all the time. Boxing and what they want to do at times at T-Mobile. And I know things are scheduled out, but at the last minute, you're adding 41 new events there. And I say last minute, it's 2 years down the road. That's kind of last minute when you're talking about logistics and planning things of this magnitude.
Is there any coincidence that today was the day that Foley announced the bid? Do you know what today is?
National Onion Ring Day.
Well, aside from that. That's a big deal. Onion Ring Day, National Onion Ring Day is a big day. Today is the 10-year anniversary that the NHL awarded Foley with the expansion franchise.
I would assume there was some ceremony in it. Yes, I did not know that.
A little ceremonial.
Yeah.
So if he's granted this, he could say 10 years ago, it'll be 15 years ago, the NHL awarded this. We also announced that we were putting a bid in for the NBA.
Yeah.
Something tells me Foley's going to have a hand in this.
Well,
he's going to break ground. We need the commercial real estate agent on the line so we have the digs on this.
The other interesting part about this for Foley, so we talked in the second hour about the Kachuk trade and how I'm like, hello, hey, is this thing on? Is there any complaints about these hockey fans for the Vegas Golden Knights and the way that they've operated? And one of the key complaints at the very beginning was the expansion draft and how lenient it was. And now Foley puts his bid in, and let's just kick the can down the road and assume that he gets it. He's going to get another expansion team. What's the NBA expansion draft going to look like? Because, just like the NHL, because whether or not hockey fans want to admit it, the NHL was smart in loosening up those expansion draft rules so that these teams could hit the ground running. We talked about this last week, James. I think we talked about it with Ray. We said 5, 6 maybe you can protect on an NBA roster.
Well, where we need to look.
That's going to be great.
We need to just basically look at what the WNBA's done because they are somewhat tied in with one another. They are tied in with one another. So, how they handled it will be, and we saw what happened with last year's expansion team. Golden State made it to the playoffs. By the way, shameless plug, I have a story coming out on the Valkyries and Natalie Nakase and what they've done here in the first year and a quarter into the season. And we're seeing what Portland and Toronto are doing. So is that
It was 5 players for the WNBA?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And undisclosed. So what is a blueprint there that Big Brother can follow and model after what the WNBA has done the last 2 seasons and what they'll do as Cleveland comes in, Philadelphia comes in. I don't think it's going to matter. Here's the thing. That whole thing of, hating on that, you know what?
No, I don't care about that. But the expansion rules do matter. The expansion draft rules do matter.
No, they matter. But what I was about to say is from this point forward, it's just not a surprise anymore if an expansion team does well right off the bat. Now, if they get right to the championship like the Golden Knights said, and we're not going to sit here and talk about spiritual powers that be, whatever, but that opening season was pretty special and magical with everything that the Golden Knights, they were inspired by what took place in this city. With the October 1 shooting and rallying around a community that depended on them as much as it was depending on the community. The fact of the matter is we're going to see expansion teams thrive from at this point because it's just the way that it is. And the talent is getting better. Huh?
If the NBA comes out and says you can protect 8 players, then, then they're going to be awful.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're going to do that. You think they're going to do that?
No, and that's what I think. I would assume. I mean, I don't want to assume anything. But if you're fully, I think you're either getting some information as to what that's going to look like, or you're going to fight for once that conversation comes up of like, look, man, we're investing in this. You're going to give me an expansion draft. You're going to protect 7 players on every roster. Then get out of here.
Then if in that to that point, then he already knows. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered with the bid.
Or has some idea.
He's already,
Or has some idea.
That's what I mean. Yeah. No, he already has an idea. Otherwise, he wouldn't waste his time. Because he wants to win with immediacy.
This is the first domino too, right? In terms of in next few months, we're going to get some more names, ownership groups.
Oh, yeah. Unless I think that they're also those ownership groups will inquire to say, does Foley have a leg up on us?
I mean, in the community,
it's intimidating.
In the community, he for sure does.
Yeah.
I mean, the NBA would be stupid to ignore that aspect of it.
100%, because he's locked in and he's beloved. And let's just, I hate to do this. I'm so uneducated when it comes to politics, but let's not forget that the political climate that we're in and where Foley invested money and where he's at, he's on the right side of it right now with where we're at, right? I would imagine. You know better than I would with that. I'm not a political guy.
I'm unfamiliar with his spending politically.
He's invested in the person who's in office.
Okay.
So he's a military guy. He's from the Army. He's totally on the right side, meaning the left right, not whether I believe right or wrong. But
as opposed to correct. Yes. Yes. For anybody before anybody freaks out. But
yeah,
I would I'd be curious to see what follows in terms of other names popping up, throwing their hat in the ring for ownership groups later, and who's part of his group too.
Yeah, and the big NBA player obviously is
I'll be part of it, Bill. By the way,
nice.
Call me up.
All right,
I got a few mil laying around. I'll throw it in there.
It's like that Eddie Murphy joke, right? With Johnny Carson and
ooh, someone tell Bill Foley. I mean, I got a base knowledge of the association. Once we start up this, I don't know, the RSNs are dead. I don't know what's going to go on, but
you could be a scout.
I don't care about scout. Just put me on TV, brother.
Sideline reporter.
Hey, whatever it is.
You want to be part of that?
I'll be shredded by the time the basketball team gets here, so I can be a sideline reporter.
Wow. I can hook you up with my tailor.
That's a proclamation. Well, who says I need the tailor?
Well, you just said I'm going to be shredded. What are you going on there, shirtless?
No, I'm just saying. Like, my fashion's good.
Oh, I was
my fashion's good.
Oh, I'm not saying it's bad. I was just figuring if you wanted to.
I go to the Pen.
Suit hookup.
You ever go to the Pen?
No.
J.C. Penney.
Oh, I was going to say keep me as far away from the Pen, dude. I've seen the show The Wire. I want nothing to do with the Pen.
All right, let's find out what another Vegas legend thinks. Caleb Herring's going to be joining us on the other side. Caleb will, is what I was about to say, tell us what he thinks about Foley's entrance, throwing his hat into the ring for NBA ownership, and what's going on with UNLV. We got to talk some coach rankings in the Mountain West.
Let's go.
Our guy, Dan Mullen, better be number one.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, let's not waste any more of his time. He's an important man here in Las Vegas. Some would say
He is.
similar status to future owner of the soon-to-be-named NBA franchise, Bill Foley. Caleb Herring is with us here on Cofield and Company. A Von Tobel y los Vatos edition.
Certainly
Of
same
Cofield
status
and
as
Company.
Randall Cunningham. Jr.
Yes, and I would say one of the Vatos as well. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? I'll accept the title of one of the Vatos on today. We have a lot of fun whenever she's out, and it's just the three of us. So we're the three best friends that anyone could have.
That is very true. And
Just the three
one
of us.
of the best friends was spending the time while the rejoin was playing, telling me what he was going to have for dinner. What are you going to have for dinner tonight, Caleb? Or has dinner already been consumed?
And will onion rings be involved?
There will be no onion rings, although I do love a good hearty onion ring. My wife is making some sort of beef stew pasta that she's been really excited about. So I don't know what it's called. I don't know what the name of the dish is. I just let her have it today. Like, she's like, I want to make this tonight. And I said, I will accept that as a gift from my lovely wife, and I will enjoy it. So I have not consumed dinner, but I can smell it, and it smells good right now.
You can smell it. You can smell it. That's a little more Eddie Murphy references today. Nice.
I thought that was just a bad British accent stemming from your new
You don't
growing
remember that
fandom.
skit on Eddie Murphy? You can smell it.
Caleb, anything here?
Delirious or Raw?
I
is one
have
of the
nothing.
Okay.
Two
Well,
of both of you.
the most,
Young-
yeah,
both of
two
you
of the
youngins
most
don't know Eddie
legendary
Murphy
stand-ups
good.
of all time.
Well, this has gotten off to a great start, so let's just continue down this path. The World Cup, we have two games underway because of immense rain delay in the France-Iraq game. It is 3-0 France. Mbappe not with the third goal. He does have a brace, as some would call it, though. But have you been watching this, Caleb? I was asking Willie about this. He's been watching a little bit, but I've been hooked. I've been watching as much as I possibly can.
So there's angles to this. I think the first angle that most Americans, I think, fall into, at least that I grew up with, is that it's the time to prove that you're a patriot, right? Anytime there's a world stage and sports competition, it's U.S. versus all, right? And you prove your patriotism by tuning in during that tournament and that tournament alone, like having no idea what happens during the regular season of soccer or MLS or Premier League, but then being all in when it's time to root for your country. That's number one. Number two, this year especially, it's local, not local, but it's in the U.S. It's on U.S. soil. And watching it for the entertainment value of the crowds and the sports love from around the world and the different traditions and pastimes and the things that people do in stadiums to create the atmosphere that is the World Cup is unbelievable. I love it. So I am tuned into that aspect. And then, of course, social media this year has really dominated for me. My American algorithm has probably led to more of this, but all of the foreign visitors who have come to America and experienced these American things, like the infrastructure of the stadiums. Like, everybody's all worried, like, do they have FIFA World Cup-sized stadiums? It's like, yeah, we've got like 30 of them. Load them up. Like, fans' reaction to going to Cowboy Stadium for the first time, it's like, yeah, we do this entertainment stuff kind of good. That's cool. And then, like, the food and the experience of, like, American cuisine, they're like, we as Americans go overseas and, like, lose weight with the pasta and stuff. And we're like, how did I not gain 20 pounds on that vacation? Everyone else is coming to vacation in America, and they're, like, worried because the portion sizes are something they've never seen before. There's, like, a reel about the unlimited chips and salsa at Mexican restaurants in America. Like, that's not a thing anywhere else. So people are like, how do you get full before you even order? And just watching that in terms of the World Cup has been cool this year, especially. So I am tuned in that regard.
Caleb, I was talking to somebody yesterday at the Aces game in the media, and they're like, man, I bet you Las Vegas and the LVCVA is kicking itself now to see all the response in the different cities. And I was like, I know part of the reason why they didn't, And my argument was they're not kicking themselves. Yes, it's a great success, and it's turning, and America's loving it. But I don't think that Vegas is kicking itself. I think they're just fine in missing out on this one. What are your thoughts?
I would agree. I think there is a piece that you want to be involved in everything, especially as a budding sports town. Soccer hasn't broken through in Vegas, and really doesn't have a footprint. So I mean, that would have been a gigantic footprint to have. But I think there is such thing as too much on your plate. I think the focus of what Vegas is trying to do, especially when you're talking about the NBA being a realistic, like within grasp, I think that should be the focus of everybody's attention. You've got baseball already transitioning in. I think there's so much more to Formula One is shaping up to have a great season this year, and hopefully this year Vegas doesn't have any hiccups. There's a lot going on already, and I think putting too much on your plate sometimes can leave you with a little bit of a tummy ache. So I'm fine with Vegas passing and just letting the country as a whole have the World Cup and embrace it the way that it has.
All right, let's talk a little football here because I know there's some news in the Mountain West, and it's one person's opinion, but did we recently get a ranking of the head coaches in the Mountain West?
Yeah, we got rankings, and rankings are, especially this season with the Mountain West and the restructuring and how it's been shaped with really Spencer Danielson, who's been 1-2 with Barry Odom and Dan Mullen in the last couple of seasons, it's a lot of projections based on, one, respect. And I think when you look at a guy like Calhoun, who's number 2 on the list, that's just the respect of what he's been able to do with the Falcons for so long. I mean, it's ridiculous when you think about it. But then there's a lot of newcomers who I think are getting maybe overlooked. I think Memphis's staff and what they've been able to do. Northern Illinois obviously has an interesting situation. I think that, let's get to this. Number 1 is right on the list. I think Dan Mullen has, as a recruit, as a coach, as a football mind, the things he was able to do last year earned him the right as number 1 on the list. Jason Egg, I think, may have been my number 2. He has a different style. He's not the traditional guy like Calhoun, but he's a guy who came in and infused that program with life that they haven't had in a long time. And I think that needs to be considered a little bit higher. I'm also interested to see what Timmy Chang's going to do. They got him ranked at number 5, but with the buy-in that his stars, his key players, and even people coming back to the island to try to revitalize yesteryear with Hawaii football, I think he might have some noise to be made, which for UNLV early in the season could be problematic. They've got a couple of games out of the gate that could be pretty challenging from a schedule standpoint, with Memphis being introduced to the conference with that opener and then an early travel game to Hawaii. So we'll see. There'll be a lot of questions answered about coaching, about playing, and actual projections for this new Mountain West. But I think the coaches list is right at number 1, and that's really all I'm at.
Yeah, the ranking, and this is from Chris Murray over there at Nevada Sportsnet. Dan Mullen, number 1, Troy Calhoun, number 2, Jason Eck at number 3, Ken Niumatalolo, 4, Timmy Chang at 5, Tim Polasek, head coach of North Dakota State, coming in at number 6. I think you could probably make the argument Polasek deserves a little bit more in terms of the coaching job he's done at North Dakota State. I know a lot of people would say, like, well, this is the big boys now, but they're going to hit the ground running, I think, in this conference, and a lot of people are going to learn how good of a coach Polasek is.
Yeah, and I think their style of play has never been one where they, like, bullied the lower divisions, right? They weren't playing bully. They were letting it spin, and that's how they got on the map. And you've seen teams like Bryant University come into UNLV who can throw the ball around the yard, and that is the great equalizer. It's almost like a three-pointer in football or in basketball, right? Like, if you can have an established, potent passing game, you give yourself a puncher's chance at just about any game, and you kind of negate the size element of jumping up a division, which is essentially what people are worried about with North Dakota State. Like, how do you play with big boy football? Well, you throw over the top. You light them up. You run and shoot. You use tempo, and they've already got an established kind of tradition of that. So I think you're right. It's probably the perfect, mid-level, if you want to call it that, conference for them to join in and have some success. So those teams that are from the original Mountain West better be weary. It's not some pushover D2 or team that's just coming in here and you can beat up on.
Were you surprised at all? Maybe you were surprised by there should have been more. 15 Rebels placing on Phil Steele's all Mountain West teams.
I'm not surprised. I think, again, a lot of this is projected without any real film on Mountain West guys, like guys that are transferring in from other places who have no film as Rebels in the system, getting on the list. And with every team, it's not just UNLV. Every team has some guy that transferred in and is just projected to be a stud, right? And then there's the guys that transferred in and you don't project to be a stud. And, like Jackson Woodard came in to the Mountain West, and he's like a perennial all Mountain West guy. He was not that his first year, but sometimes they get it wrong with the projection. I'm not surprised that this 15 UNLV has had some pretty, I'd call it sustained success, especially when you look at the top of that list with Jet and Boyd, guys that have been around the program and been there for the success. They're familiar names, almost household names, if you will, in the Mountain West. So that makes sense. I think Jake Pope was the one that kind of surprised me the most, being first team. I think he has glimpses, and coming from where he came from obviously gives him maybe a little bit of a leg up when it comes to these preseason polls. But he did not have, to me, a first-team all-conference season last year. So surely projection in that opinion. My most interesting name on the list was Tayshawn Lyons, because I've been a fan of the kid since he stepped foot in UNLV. And he doesn't get the rep volume. There was a crowded receiver room last year, but 16 catches, 241, one of the highest averages in terms of yards per catch, 15.1, 3 touchdowns in 2025. But just watching his physical skill set, his ability, his agility, his hand, his catch radius, his route running, he has a package that, if targeted, if he gets the opportunity, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not just preseason, but at the end of the season in the all-conference team.
Caleb Herring with us, UNLV football analyst at Caleb Herring _ up on X. As we look at this now moving forward for football, what do you do? Like, what's next for you? I mean, we're kind of in the dull period. We're waiting for them to get started here a little bit. Do you study film? Like, what's your offseason look like? Because we're kind of in the midst of it now.
Yeah, I think that's the tricky thing about kind of the transfer portal is the schedule for what you usually do change so much. Like, the offseason became about tracking the transfer portal and who's going where. This year being the first year that's kind of settled down, it feels like there's a lot of downtime, right? Like, it's like just waiting for the season. Like, fortunately, Sorsby's given us some stuff to talk about. But it's one of those deals where you maybe get some more prep time on teams that are unfamiliar. The Mountain West has been kind of, since I've been around, it's been established, like the teams that are there. And that really all of college football, it's been that way. There's a lot of newness with the teams after the mega shift with the big conferences, and now the Mountain West having people that you don't have to talk about. Like Boise State is somebody you always have to talk about when getting ready for a UNLV season, and it's just not the case this year. So there's some storylines that you want to start picking up on, and especially in-house with UNLV, like the return of Mike Shear and what that could mean for the linebacking core with Blessing, Alualu Tuilamotu, and that reunion. Those kinds of things, having a defensive coordinator established coming into the season and obviously what kind of impact that has. Those kinds of storylines you start to really dig into so you have some stuff in your back pocket during the season. But really it is film study, trying to get as much information as you can about your opponent so that you are prepared for season when it's time to start broadcasting again.
So last time I think we talked to you, Brendan Sorsby was not yet in the supplemental draft, but now he has applied. He has decided to give up the fight and move on to the National Football League. We haven't gotten official word that the NFL's approved it yet. I would imagine that they will at some point. But what do you make of Sorsby giving up on this, and do you think there's a chance some of these teams, a couple of these teams, would put in a bid for him?
Well, I think he's talented enough to get a bid, and it would probably be a cheap bid at that. So there's a higher reward versus risk ratio there. So I think he'll get a shot. To me, the thing is, I think he started off this process of cooperation, checking into with the best of intentions to be a collegiate athlete. I think the storm that came after was a deterrent, and especially when you got the conference threatening to sit out game, all that kind of stuff, probably had a lot to do with why he made it. I don't believe it was his intention to stir the pot like this in college sports and then bounce out and go. But you play the hand you're dealt, right? No pun intended, Vegas. But you play the hand you're dealt, and you do what you got to do. And I think this is the best option for him. What kind of ramifications does it have with his NIL deal, with his reputation, what his future NFL career becomes? Who knows? But I think it's the right move for him personally. It just creates a lot of chaos in the wake. And maybe later on we'll look at it and say it's the best thing that he ended up getting drafted to the NFL. Let that be the professional problem, and college football can proceed as normal with the Big 12 having every chance that they can to get into the playoff and all that kind of stuff.
Caleb, we appreciate a couple minutes. Enjoy your dinner, sir.
Appreciate you guys. Have fun.
Love you, Caleb. You got to say that more because it's true. And I'm not afraid to admit it. You know what I also love? The the 4th of July, and Smashing Pumpkins. So let's give away some tickets. 702-364-1100, 702-364-1100. Caller number 7. If you want to go on 4th of July with a pair of tickets to see Smash Mouth, I said Smashing Pumpkins, Smash Mouth, July 4th at the Sahara Pool. Check it out now. Tickets are here. All you got to do is be caller number 7 to go see Smash Mouth on 4th of July at the pool at Sahara. 702-364-1100.
Cofield and Company presents Grab Bag on ESPN Las Vegas.
Stick your hand in there, Dave.
All right, so what are you eating for dinner? Wait, sorry, pause. Who scored for Norway? Got to look it up. Needed to be Holland.
France is up 3-0, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
You're not happy about that.
I don't really care about that. I have nothing invested in this French game.
I thought you had the don't.
The don't?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Didn't you tell me earlier that you don't want them to win?
Something called Marcus Holmgren Peterson scored in the 49th minute. That's not what I need. Come on now. Disappointing. All right, so what's for dinner?
We're going to have some steak and shrimp with some noodles. We're going to have some sautéed veggies. And I think I'm going to make some hot or air-fried crispy steak fries.
Okay. Steak fries as in like potatoes, like thick steak fries,
Yeah.
not as in like meat.
Right.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Today's push day, Willie. Got to get in there after this.
I love it.
Snort a little pre-workout and then get in there and get it done.
I love that.
Dinner a little light, you know. I'm thinking I gotta hit my protein. I'm a little down on protein today, you know what I mean? I gotta get up there. Matt, let me see how
I'm
many-
in a catch
you want
22 because I have to keep my caloric intake up in order to maintain
I'm low
size because I haven't been able to get into the gym.
Matt, 132 grams of protein, about 1,200 calories, so I'm a little
You know,
light
I
today.
remember a few years ago when we were co-hosting at the NBA Summer League, and I was explaining all this stuff to him, and it was like foreign language, and he was trying
Not
to
true
get
at all.
into it, and I was trying to help him out. and
I've always
he
known the
wasn't
concept of
interested,
macros and protein,
trying
and
to help him.
calories in, calories out. I'm trying to up the protein. Got to get it. So I'm changing the way I'm doing it because we've cut, right, and we're going to continue to cut. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to get less than 1,900 calories, but about 240 grams of protein.
Ooh,
That's very
tough. Because,
it's a very tough,
because-
skew.
So what are you skimping on? Carbs or fat?
So far, the way I've been tracking it has been fat. Because the carbs have helped with some of the workouts because I've been running more. Yeah. I need the carbs to burn while I'm running. You know what's incredible?
Me?
So I gave myself the other day, I was like, you know what? You deserve it. You've been doing well. So I bought a certain burger from a burger place that has bread in the middle because I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I haven't had one of these in a while.
Okay. I'll give
Very
you that.
long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, let me
I
get one.
understand that, yeah.
Right? I wanted one. And I was like, I you've been good. Do it. I crushed my run the next morning. I had that late at night, and like the next day, I cruised. Dude.
Well, if you ever
it's like I should do this more often.
If you ever do a late night something like that, and you go to the gym the very next day, you'll
Yeah.
actually feel the pump.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hit the pre-workout, and then all of a sudden everything will just start filling up. Man, I've lost my pump. I'm so pissed. You know whose numbers are going up, by the way, and they're not caloric. Brittany Griner.
In the bag.
Stick your hand in there, Dave.
Brittany Griner has broken the all-time blocks record. Future Hall of Famer Brittany Griner, by the way. Let's see. Is she still on 4 blocks? I got the box score up here. She still is on 4 blocks, bringing her to 878 in a legendary career. The Connecticut Sun appear to be on their way to their 3rd victory. Start of the 4th quarter, they are on top of the Chicago Sky, 70-44.
That's it?
I feel bad for Tyler Marsh. I have to wonder if he's going to be the first coach seeing an early exit, or the Seattle Storm coach, whose name escapes me right now, but they're not doing too well. Connecticut, I'm giving a pass. I think that entire franchise has one foot out the door and headed toward Houston, where they will play next year. So, but yeah, man, they did all those offseason moves. Sent Angel to Atlanta. They bring in Natasha Cloud. They bring in Skylar Diggins. They sign this. It's not good. It's not working out. I feel bad. I might have to shoot a text to Tyler tomorrow just to check in, say, hey, man, you okay? I mean, they just blew a 14-point lead
What
to
is
Dallas.
this humble brag?
No, I've talked about it. I mean, Tyler, come on. That's not a humble brag. He was a coach here for how many years? I mean, 1-3. I mean, come on. We all know Tyler was the go-to reach out for the media here when he was here. Couldn't really approach Becky. Natalie was, Tyler was the guy for all of us. That's not really that's a common knowledge thing.
Stick your hand in there, Dave.
I have a lot of places I could go with this next topic.
Go. Run with it. Fast break. You're in transition.
I haven't seen Willie for a while.
Oh, boy.
What have you been doing this whole show, dude?
Oh.
what are we doing?
Well, I've met.
Can I tell our audience what you've been doing this whole time?
I already know. Steve talks about it all the time. You know what I've been doing? Making money. I'm not going to reveal how much money I'm up.
I don't need money. I'm just saying, what is this? I haven't seen you for a while. This is this is a relatively new endeavor.
Exact same time.
You're sitting here blowing kisses to people while I'm talking to you.
They're sending me gifts. They're sending me gifts. It's worth money. And my moderator.
There is a light.
Shout out to Caitlin, by the way.
Hold on. There is a light above my microphone. Okay, for our radio audience, there's a light that should be red.
Yeah.
Whenever it's on.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a short in the wire, so it'll go off. Right now, it's off. Yeah. And every time it goes off, Willie gets like really distracted. Yeah. And he told James in the break, he's like, "Yeah, it really throws me off. You blowing kisses while I'm talking to you is really throwing me off."
Is it really? You'll be fine. You did a great job.
I feel like on the scale of being thrown off, the light going off versus you blowing kisses randomly, yeah, I feel like I win.
A lot of women coming in throwing me gifts here on TikTok. We've been live for about, let me see, I'll tell you exactly how long I've been live. We've been live streaming here for 4 hours and 28 minutes.
This entire time, Willie has not shown his live stream, James or I. He's afraid.
It's a front camera.
He's afraid that they might. Hey, who's that?
James was on earlier. He was on. What are you talking about?
He's afraid, James. We might take his audience. What's his at? I don't have TikTok, so don't worry, Willie.
I'm not concerned. I do got to shout out my girl Caitlin though in Texas. She's been my moderator in my chat room, so she's taking.
You have a moderator?
Yeah. We have moderators who take care of your room while you're doing your live stream. So, Steve, the funny thing is when I first started,
how does Steve handle this? There's no way that
when I first started doing this, Steve was like, Willie, and then he off air he'd be like, man, it's really, and now all of a sudden then he shot down TikTok altogether. Now he loves TikTok and social media.
One of the things, look, time travel will never happen in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I wish I could do, though, it's not high on my list because there's a lot of different things I'd rather do than this, but if I could get the Steve Cofield that I used to work for to meet the Steve Cofield now.
Oh, he would eat him alive.
He'd kick his ass.
Yeah. Physically.
Yes.
Physically.
He would be amazed.
Yeah.
The Steve Cofield that used to, so that like were you here with the old setup where how it used to be like the half circle?
Yeah.
The Steve Cofield who would at times when he would get mad, reach over the counter and like slam the board and turn off mics and do those sort of things and scream and yell. And now he's like, so you're streaming on TikTok, huh?
Yeah. He when I first started, he when he'd go to commercial, he'd say, mute it so he could talk. Now he doesn't. It is what it is, man. Deal with it. We're in the new age. I'm streaming.
No, I'm not. No, trust me.
It's helping the explode. You know what?
Whatever
Here's the thing.
I'm just more distracted by the kisses.
The only difference is the interaction. Well, yeah, every time you saw this, someone sent. What happens is they go into the gift box and they send a gift. Each gift is worth money. So at the end of this, I'll end it. It'll tell me what this live stream was.
I assume you're unmuted now. They can hear you talking.
Yeah, 100%. Right. They know what they're doing.
These are Brits?
No, well, some are in KP's in Texas. There are people that are in America. So a woman came in earlier, Allie. She came in and sent me 2 gifts. She lit it up, what's called lit up the gift gallery. But here's the thing. We're live streaming on YouTube for them, so this is exposure for Cofield and Company. I don't want to hear anybody's
I never said it was negative.
Shite. Not yours, his.
You have to dump that too?
No.
Okay.
What did we dump earlier? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that. All right. Steve's back tomorrow. I'll see you.
We're out.